Introduction: The Golden Cage. Welcome. If you are listening to this, it is because you have reached a limit. You have used your mind to try to solve your life. You have analyzed, planned, calculated, and worried. You have read books, learned techniques, and tried to think positive. And yet you still feel that subtle emptiness. You still feel that life is a struggle. You feel it is a problem to be solved, rather than a mystery to be lived. The reason is simple yet devastating for the ego. You cannot solve the problem with the same tool that created it. Your analytical mind, that incessant voice in your head, is a wonderful tool for survival. It serves to calculate taxes and build complex bridges. It helps you remember where you left your keys. But the mind is not designed to make you happy. It is not designed to create miracles. And it is definitely not designed to comprehend the infinite. The mind is a golden cage. It is a closed circuit that recycles information from the past. You are trying to create using the bricks of the old. When you try to manifest your dreams from the mind, you are trying to create what is new using bricks of the old. It is impossible. This audiobook is called Beyond the Mind, because that is where your true power resides. There is an intelligence in you that does not think, but knows. There is a part of you that does not analyze time. It is a part of you that is eternal. There is a place where you do not need to attract anything because you are already connected to everything. In the coming hours, we are going to undertake the longest and most difficult journey a human being can make. The 12-inch journey from your head down to your very heart. We must go there. We are going to learn how to turn off the noise to turn on the signal. We are going to stop trying to understand the universe, to start being the universe. Get ready to let go of the only thing you believe keeps you safe, your need to understand everything. The journey begins now. Get ready for the architecture of origin and the power. Chapter 1. The Guardian of the Threshold, the Ego and the Illusion of Control. Before we can talk about galaxies, miracles, synchronicity, or the invisible architecture of reality, we must stop at the closed door. There is an invisible barrier that separates your current life, the life of struggle, effort, and repetition, from the life you sense is possible, the life of flow, expansion, and magic. That barrier is not made of external circumstances. It is not the economy, it is not your family, it is not your past. The barrier is an internal mechanism, a sophisticated and ancient defense system. We call it the Guardian of the Threshold. In modern psychology, it is known as the ego. But I want to ask you to, for a moment, forget everything you think you know about that word. Forget Freud's definition. Forget the idea that the ego is simply vanity, pride, or arrogance. Those are just its most superficial disguises. The ego, at its deepest and metaphysical root, is something much more complex. It is the mental structure that sustains the illusion that you are separate from the all. The Guardian has only one mission: your physical and psychological survival. And to survive in a world it perceives as hostile and chaotic, the Guardian has developed an unshakable addiction: control. Crossing the threshold toward beyond the mind requires you to do the one thing your Guardian strictly forbids: letting go of the helm. In this chapter, we are going to dissect the Guardian. We will understand its fear, and we will learn to walk beyond it, not by fighting, but by understanding that its authority is an illusion. The anatomy of separation. To understand why your mind resists change so much, we must look at the origin. Imagine the ocean of infinite consciousness, a unified field of energy where everything is connected to everything else. In that state, there is no you or me, there is no here or there. All is. But to have a human experience, a small drop of that ocean had to separate, or believe it separated, to inhabit a physical body. The moment you were born and developed self-awareness, the great fracture occurred. You began to define yourself by what you are not. I am this body, and I am not that table. I am Juan, and I am not Maria. To navigate this three-dimensional reality, your mind created an avatar, a character, a psychological construction: the ego. The ego is, essentially, a position point in space-time. It is a navigation software that says, I am here, and what I want is over there. Therefore, there is distance. Therefore, there is time. Therefore, I need to exert effort to go from here to there. This perception of separation is the root of all human suffering and all lack. Quantum physics tells us that separation is an optical illusion. At the subatomic level, there are no real edges. There are no edges between your atoms and the atoms of the air, or the atoms of the money you desire. Everything is the same quantum field vibrating at different speeds. But the guardian of the threshold, your logical mind, cannot see the field. It only sees objects. The guardian lives in Newton's world, a world of solid billiard balls colliding with each other. A world where to win, someone has to lose. A world where resources are limited and death is the absolute end. Since the ego believes itself to be a small, isolated and vulnerable entity in a gigantic universe, it lives in a chronic state of existential terror. Even if you don't feel it consciously, at the bottom of the egoic mind there is always a background hum. I am not enough. I am not safe. I am going to disappear. To calm this terror, the ego desperately seeks external anchors. It seeks to accumulate money, not just to buy things, but to feel that it is bigger. It seeks fame or recognition to feel that it exists in the minds of others. It seeks to be right to feel that it has control over the truth. But none of this works, because an infinite whole cannot be filled with finite things. The guardian keeps you running on a hamster wheel, promising you that safety is just ahead, in the next achievement. But you never arrive. Because the problem is not what you have or do not have. The problem is what you believe you are. A separate particle. The addiction to control and resistance. Here we reach the core of the metaphysical problem. Because the ego feels separate from life, it feels it must control life. The ego sees the natural flow of events as a threat. Uncertainty is its poison. If it doesn't know what will happen tomorrow, it panics. That is why it plans obsessively. That is why it worries. Worry is nothing more than the mind trying to control the future by anticipating disasters. The ego firmly believes in the following false premise: if I don't do it, it won't happen. If I stop pushing, everything will crumble. This belief creates a constant tension in your body and in your energetic field. We call this resistance. Resistance is the attempt to force reality to adjust to the limited plans of your logical mind. Imagine you are in a mighty river. The river is the universal intelligence, the Tao, the flow of life. The river knows exactly where it is going, toward the ocean of your greatest expansion. The ego is a terrified swimmer who believes the river is going to kill him. So, the ego swims against the current. It kicks, it struggles, it clings to the rocks, it exhausts itself. It screams, I have to get to the shore. I have to control where I am going. His whole life is a struggle, and he calls that struggle responsibility or hard work. Crossing the threshold toward beyond the mind means stopping swimming. It means trusting that the river is smarter than you. It means turning around, lifting your feet, and letting the current carry you flow. But for the guardian, this is unacceptable. For the ego, surrender is death. That is why every time you try to meditate, let go, or trust, your mind attacks you. It bombards you with thoughts. What are you doing? You have to pay the bills. You can't just sit there. Do something. Worry. It is the guardian screaming at the door, preventing you from passing into the realm of the no-mind. You must understand this. The guardian is not evil. It is trying to protect you in its primitive way. It believes that if you let go of control, a lion will eat you. It doesn't know we are no longer on the savannah. It doesn't know that, in the quantum realm, letting go of control is the only way to win everything. The tyranny of logic and the how. The guardian's main weapon is logic. The logical mind is a wonderful tool for dissecting the past, but it is useless for creating the future. Why? Because logic can only work with the data it already knows. Logic takes A, past, plus B, present, and projects C, predictable future. The logical mind is, by definition, limited and linear. If you try to create an extraordinary life using only your logical mind, you are trapped. Your logic will tell you, based on your background, your education, and your current bank account, you cannot have that. And logic is right within its small box. But you want to step out of the box. You want a quantum leap. And quantum leaps are, by definition, illogical. They do not follow a linear progression. The guardian of the threshold will always stop you with a trick question. How? How are you going to get that money? How are you going to heal? How are you going to find love? If you don't have the answer to the how, the ego doesn't let you believe in the dream. It closes the door on you. It tells you, be realistic. Going beyond the mind means giving up the need to know the how. The what, the desire, intention, is your responsibility. The how, the delivery mechanism, is the universe's responsibility. The field of infinite possibilities has millions of ways to deliver your desire that your small logical mind cannot even imagine. When you demand to know the how before starting, you are insulting the universal intelligence. You are telling it, I will only accept the miracle if it fits within my limited understanding. You must be willing to look like a fool in the eyes of your own guardian. You must be willing to walk without seeing the ground, trusting that the ground will appear under your feet. Time as a mental prison. The guardian of the threshold builds his castle with bricks of time. The ego cannot survive in the present. If you pay full attention to the moment now, if you are absolutely present in this second, you will realize one thing. The ego disappears. In the absolute now, there is no story. There is no I, there is only pure experience. There is breath, there is sound, there is existence. The ego hates the now, because in the now it is not necessary. Therefore, the guardian constantly kidnaps you to two illusory places. One, the past, where your identity, your traumas, your grudges, and your poor me stories reside. The ego recycles the past to justify why you are the way you are today. Two, the future, where imaginary salvation or feared catastrophe resides. The ego projects problems to solve them and feel useful. The mind tells you, I will be happy when I get the house. I will be happy when I get married. This is a trap. It is the carrot tied to the stick. By placing your fulfillment in the future, you guarantee that you will never experience it, because the future does not exist. When you arrive at that supposed future, it becomes now, and your ego will have already moved the goal further ahead. Living in the mind is living in a perpetual waiting room, waiting for life to begin. Going beyond the mind is collapsing time. It is understanding that everything you seek is already here, in the invisible dimension of the eternal now. You don't have to go anywhere. You have to wake up here. The guardian tells you run. The spirit tells you stop. The illusion of personal identity. Let's do an exercise in depth. If I take away your name, do you still exist? Yes. If I take away your profession, your family history, your memories of the past, do you still exist? There is a presence that remains when you take away all the labels. That presence is the observer. The ego is the mask. The observer is the actor. The problem is that the actor has believed the role so much that he has forgotten he is an actor. He has forgotten that he is immortal and is crying because the character in the script is suffering. The guardian of the threshold defends the mask. He fears that if you take off the mask, you will find the void. And the ego is terrified of the void. It equates it with death. But the mystic knows that this void is not empty. It is full of the potentiality of God. When you start to question who you are, the guardian gets nervous. You will feel anxiety. You will feel vertigo. It is normal. It is the symptom that you are approaching the edge of the cage. Your mind will tell you, if you stop worrying about yourself, you will become irresponsible. You will lose your ambition. You will become a vegetable. Another lie. When you transcend the ego, you don't lose your ability to act. You lose your ability to suffer. Your action becomes more powerful because it is no longer born from the fear of lack, but from the joy of expression. You stop acting to get and start acting to give. The role of fear and safety. Let's speak clearly about the guardian's fuel, fear. Not the acute fear of a tiger chasing you, that is useful. I'm talking about chronic psychological fear. The fear of not being enough, the fear of judgment, the fear of scarcity. This fear is the wall that keeps the cage door closed. The ego seeks safety. But here is the cosmic paradox. Safety is the opposite of life. Life is movement, change, risk, expansion. The only total safety is in a coffin. Seeking safety is seeking death in life. When you pray asking for safety, You are asking for nothing to change. You are asking for stagnation. What your soul yearns for is not safety, it is freedom, and freedom always implies uncertainty. Crossing the threshold means embracing uncertainty as the playground of creation. In the known, the past, there is nothing new. Only in the unknown, the quantum field, can miracles happen. You must be willing to let go of the shore of the known to discover new continents. The Guardian will tell you, better the devil you know than the devil you don't. The Spirit tells you, jump and wings will grow as you fall. Deactivating the Guardian, non-resistance. So how do we cross? Do we fight the ego? Do we try to kill the Guardian? No, that is a trap. If you fight the ego, it is the ego fighting the ego. It is the spiritualized ego saying, look how spiritual I am. I have defeated my ego. That is more ego. The Guardian is not defeated with violence. He is defeated with light, consciousness. You simply observe him. You become the silent witness of your own mind. When fear arises, do not say, I am afraid. Say, I see that there is fear in my mind. That small linguistic distance creates an abyss of freedom. Recognize that the Guardian is just an automatic program, like a tape recorder that was left on. You don't have to beat the recorder to turn it off. You just have to stop paying attention to the tape. Let it play in the background, but don't dance to its rhythm. The key practice is surrender. Not surrendering in the sense of defeat, I give up, but in the spiritual sense of yielding, I stop resisting. You accept the present moment as it is, without judging it. The ego feeds on judgment. This is good. This is bad. When you stop labeling the moment, when you say yes to what is happening now, you cut off the ego's energy supply. Without resistance, the Guardian becomes transparent. And suddenly, you see that the door was never closed. The door was a hologram projected by your own fear. The leap into the void. You are standing on the edge. Behind you is the world of the mind, logic, control, safety, past, struggle, linearity. A black and white world, safe but stifling. In front of you is the abyss, the world beyond the mind. Intuition, flow, uncertainty, now synchronicity, color. A terrifyingly free world. The Guardian whispers to you all the reasons why you shouldn't jump. He reminds you of your failures. He shows you risk statistics. He tells you that you are crazy. But there is something deeper in you that pulses, a calling, an ancient memory that tells you that you are not the cage, that you are the sky. The step toward real metaphysics, toward true magic, is not a step of gathering knowledge. It is not about reading one more book. It is a step of stripping away. Dropping the weapons, dropping the defenses, dropping the need to be right, letting go of the wheel. By crossing this threshold, you accept a new truth. I know nothing, and in that not knowing is all the power of the universe. When the mind goes silent, God speaks. When control ceases, the miracle begins. Chapter 2. Frequency vis logic, the language the mind does not speak. You now find yourself in a new territory, a vast silence. But here arises the first operational problem of awakening. You try to communicate with this new world. You try to ask for what you desire, and it seems that no one is listening. You scream into the void, I want abundance, I want love, and I deserve health. And the void returns silence. Or even worse, it returns more of the same, scarcity, loneliness, and illness. Your logical mind is indignant. It takes out its list of merits and says, I have been a good person, I have worked hard, I have visualized, I have made a vision board, why isn't it working? This is a scam. The fundamental error, the misunderstanding that has kept humanity in the dark for millennia, is an error of communication protocol. You are trying to tune into a divine reality using an obsolete human transmitter. You are speaking to the quantum field in the language of logic. But the quantum field is deaf to logic. It is deaf to your words. It is deaf to your pleas. It is deaf to your human sense of justice. The universe does not judge what you deserve. The universe reflects what you are. And what you are is not defined by your biography or your conscious thoughts. It is defined by your electromagnetic signature. The universe only speaks one language, frequency. In this chapter, we are going to learn the grammar of energy. We will discover why good people suffer and bad people sometimes succeed, and why it has nothing to do with morality but with physics. We will stop negotiating with God and start resonating with Him. The Tower of Babel, words versus signals. We live in a culture obsessed with verbal language and intellectual reasoning. We believe that if we can explain something, we control it. We believe that if we can formulate a logical request, I need money to pay the rent, the universe will understand the urgency. But to the unified field, your words matter little. Words are empty symbols if they are not charged with electricity. Imagine you are standing in front of a giant mirror. You are crying, but you scream at the mirror, "Smile, I want to see a smile." The mirror does not listen to your command. The mirror has no capacity to process your desire. The mirror simply reflects your crying face. If you want to see a smile, you have to smile first. You have to be the smile. The universe is that mirror, but in 360 degrees and multidimensional. When you say, "I want money," your logical mind is focused on the bill, on the object. But your underlying vibration, the real signal you are emitting from your gut is, "I do not have money." The word want implies, by definition, lack. You only want what you do not have. Therefore, the phrase "I want money" carries a hidden frequency load of scarcity. The field receives the signal scarcity, and obeying the law of resonance, sends you circumstances that match that frequency. Unexpected bills, losses, debts. The universe has heard you perfectly. It has heard your vibration, not your speech. Your logical mind says, "I have asked for wealth." Your energetic reality says, "I have vibrated poverty." And energy always wins over logic, always. This is the reason why positive affirmations, repeated like parrots in front of the mirror, rarely work on their own. If you repeat, "I am happy" with your mouth, but your body is in a chemical state of anxiety and depression, you are emitting an incoherent signal. It is static noise. The universe does not respond to noise. It responds to coherence, the blind justice of physics. Here we must address a painful topic for the spiritual ego, the illusion of moral meritocracy. The logical mind operates under a system of rewards and punishments. We were taught as children, if you behave well, they will give you candy. If you behave badly, they will punish you. We project that childish image onto the cosmos. We believe that God is a big Santa Claus who is watching us. So, when we see a corrupt, selfish and cruel person living on a yacht surrounded by luxury, our logical mind screams, "It is unfair." And when we see a noble, spiritual and kind person dying of a painful illness in poverty, we scream, "There is no justice." But we must go beyond the moral mind to understand physical justice. The law of gravity does not ask if you are a good person before letting you fall. If a saint jumps from a 10th floor, he kills himself just like a murderer. Gravity is a law, not a judge. The law of resonance, attraction, works the same way. That bad man on the yacht may be morally reprehensible, but he has something the universe respects: certainty. He has no doubts about his right to have money. He has no guilt, perhaps because he is a psychopath, but energetically he has no resistance. His frequency regarding money is clean, direct, and secure. He vibrates in "I have," and the universe reflects "he has." The good person in poverty may be a charitable soul, but if their dominant frequency is guilt, fear, the feeling of not deserving, or resentment toward the rich, their vibration is repulsion to wealth. And the universe reflects that repulsion. This is hard to swallow. Going beyond the mind requires spiritual maturity. It requires stopping seeing the world as a court of human justice and starting to see it as a laboratory of frequencies. You do not get what you deserve, according to human logic. You get what you are, according to your vibratory resonance. If you want to change your reality, stop trying to be good so that God will love you. He already loves you. You are part of Him. Start being resonant with the reality you wish to experience. The radio dial. Conscious tuning. Let's imagine you are an old radio. The air around you is full of invisible waves. Right now, in the space you occupy, the signals of classical music, rock, war news, and silence are all passing through. They all exist here and now, superimposed. You do not have to create classical music. It is already playing. But if your dial is set to 90.5 war news, you will only hear war. You can pray, you can cry, you can hit the radio and say, "I hate war. Please play classical music." But as long as the dial remains at 90.5, the radio will continue to decode war. It is not a punishment. It is mechanics. You are that radio. Your dial is your state of being, the combination of your thoughts and, above all, your emotions. The frequency of fear tunes into the reality of threat. The frequency of complaint tunes into the reality of obstacles. The frequency of gratitude tunes into the reality of the miracle. Going beyond the mind is understanding that external events are not solid. They are waves of probability. There are infinite versions of your life happening right now in the quantum field. We will talk about this in the chapters on time. There is a version of you that is already healthy. There is a version of you that is a millionaire. Those realities are radio stations that are already broadcasting. Your job is not to manufacture the money or manufacture the health. Your only job is to move the dial. You have to change your internal frequency until it matches the frequency of that reality. When there is a vibratory match, the phenomenon of entanglement occurs. Suddenly you begin to hear manifest that reality in your physical life. People, ideas, and opportunities appear, not because you have created them, but because you have finally tuned into them. Electricity versus magnetism. The heart commands. Why is the logical mind so weak at manifesting? Science gives us a fascinating clue. The brain emits an electrical field. Thoughts are electrical impulses. The heart emits a magnetic field. Emotions are magnetic currents. According to the HeartMath Institute, the electrical field of the heart is 60 times stronger than that of the brain, and its magnetic field is 5,000 times stronger. 5,000 times. This means that the heart is the true transmitter of reality. The mind is the steering system, the wheel, but the heart is the engine. You can think, "I want my ideal partner," mind, but if your heart feels loneliness, sadness, and abandonment, magnetic field, the 5,000-watt magnetic signal of loneliness crushes the 10-watt electrical signal of partner. The universe listens to the most powerful transmitter. It listens to what you feel, not what you think. This is where logic fails miserably. Logic tells you, "I cannot feel joy if I have no reasons to be joyful." Logic is reactive. It waits for the world to change before changing the emotion. The metaphysical master does the opposite. He is proactive. He generates the emotion of joy before the event occurs. He uses his heart as a quantum generator. He begins to feel gratitude for the health he does not yet see in the medical tests. He begins to feel the emotion of financial freedom even though the account is at zero. By holding that elevated emotion, the magnetic field of the heart changes. The dial moves. And because the universe does not distinguish between what you see with your eyes and what you feel with your heart, it begins to reorganize matter to match your new magnetic field. This is what the Bible meant by, "Whatever things you ask when you pray, believe that you have received them, and they will be yours." It does not say believe that you will receive them, future logic. It says believe that you have already received them, present frequency. Density and lightness. Let's talk about the scale of frequencies. Not all frequencies are equal. The emotions of the ego, fear, anger, guilt, shame, pride, are dense and slow frequencies. Imagine ice. It is water vibrating so slowly that it becomes solid and hard. When you are in fear, you feel frozen, heavy, contracted. Your reality becomes hard, difficult to move, full of solid obstacles. In low vibration, matter commands spirit. You have to exert much physical effort to achieve small changes. The emotions of the spirit, love, joy, peace, enlightenment, gratitude, are fast and light frequencies. Imagine steam. It is water vibrating so fast that it becomes invisible and expansive. When you are in love or gratitude, you feel light, expanded. There are no edges. In high vibration, spirit commands matter. Reality becomes fluid, malleable. Things happen fast and without effort. Synchronicity. The goal of going beyond the mind is to move from the state of ice, ego logic, to the state of steam, spirit frequency. The logical mind is heavy. It is always chewing on problems. The spirit is playful. To raise your frequency, sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is not to meditate seriously for 3 hours, but to put on music, dance, play with your dog, or laugh out loud. Seriousness is a disease of the ego. Joy is God's signature. Anything that makes you feel light is bringing you closer to the frequency of your dreams. Anything that makes you feel heavy, even if it is a forced spiritual practice, is moving you away. Your compass is not logic, I should do this. Your compass is resonance, this feels light. The trap of need. Let's return to the concept of the cruelest vibratory paradox. You cannot have what you need. Read it again. As long as you need something desperately, you cannot have it. Why? Because need is a vibration of absence. It is a radio signal that screams, I do not have it. If you need love desperately, you are vibrating, I am not loved. You will attract rejection or partners who confirm that you are not worthy of love. If you need money urgently, you are vibrating, I am in danger or poverty. You will attract unforeseen expenses. It is like trying to grab water with a closed fist. The more you squeeze, need, the more it escapes. To manifest, you have to reach a state of preference without need. It is the state of, I would love to have that, it would be wonderful, but I do not need it to be happy right now because I am already whole. When you let go of the need, the resistance disappears. The magnetic field stops emitting scarcity and begins emitting sufficiency. And paradoxically, at the moment you stop needing it to survive emotionally, it appears. The logical mind hates this. It says, how am I not going to need money if I am hungry? It is a massive challenge. It is the final exam of mastery. But the solution is not to deceive yourself. The solution is to find a source of well-being that does not depend on the external. If you can connect with the field, with your inner self, and feel peace before the external changes, you have hacked the matrix. You have deactivated the signal of need. You have become magnetic. The language of silence. If frequency is the language, how do we speak it best? Through silence, the logical mind is noisy. It is a constant static interference that prevents a clear signal from being established. Imagine trying to send a delicate Morse code message while you have a heavy metal band playing next to you. The signal does not come out clear. Doubt, excessive analysis, the how will it be, the when will it arrive, are noise. Interference. To emit a pure frequency, you need to calm the mind. You need spaces of no mind. This is why meditation is so powerful, not because it is a religious ritual, but because it turns off the transmitter of interference, logic, and allows the transmitter of power, the heart, to be heard. When you are in mental silence, when you manage to stop the world for a few minutes, your natural vibration ascends, like a cork under water. If you stop pushing it down with negative thoughts, it rises by itself to the surface. Your natural frequency is high. Your natural frequency is abundance and health. The only thing that lowers your frequency is your logical mind insisting on problems. Going beyond the mind is simply stopping the boycotting of your own energetic nature. Practice the frequency diet. From today on, understand that everything you consume is frequency, not just food. The news you watch is frequency, fear. The music you listen to is frequency. Some are sad, others empowering. The conversations with your friends are frequency. Are they complaints or are they visions? Environments are frequency. If you want to change your life, you have to change your vibratory diet. The logical mind will tell you, I have to watch the news to be informed. The spirit will tell you, does that information raise or lower my signal? Be ruthless with your energy. Protect your vibratory state as if it were the greatest treasure in the world, because it is. It is the currency with which you buy your reality. If something or someone lowers your frequency, they are stealing your power of creation. Learn to say no. Learn to withdraw. Learn to take care of your dial. The secret of I am. Let's finish with the most powerful tool of vibratory language. The two most powerful words in the universe are I am. What you put after I am is not a description. It is a mandate of creation. It is a direct frequency encoding. The logical mind uses I am to describe past facts. I am shy because that's how I was before. I am poor because that's how my account is. By doing so, you condemn the future to repeat the past. You must use I am to prescribe future frequencies. But remember, it is not enough to say it. You have to vibrate it. When you say I am abundant, do not look for confirmation in your pocket. Look for it in your sensation. Close your eyes and invoke the feeling of dignity, of power, of generosity. That is the frequency. Keep that musical note sounding in your body for as long as you can. If the logical mind attacks by saying, lie, look at your debts, simply observe it and say, those are old data. That is the wake of my old frequency. I am emitting a new signal now. Chapter 3. The space between thoughts, accessing the zero-point field. We have talked about silencing the guardian and tuning the frequency. But tuning it where? Where do you go when you close your eyes and manage, for a miraculous instant, to make the world disappear? Most people believe that when they stop thinking, they enter nothingness. They believe that mental silence is a sterile vacuum, a boring darkness where nothing happens. That is why people flee from silence. That is why they fill every free second with the phone, with music, with noise. They are terrified of meeting nothingness. But this chapter will reveal to you the best-kept secret of all mystery schools and advanced quantum physics. Nothingness is not empty. Nothingness is the origin of everything. There is a dimension that is not physical, that is not temporal, and that is not mental. A place that resides literally in the microscopic spaces between your atoms and in the silent spaces between your thoughts. Physicists call it the zero-point field. Mystics call it the Akasha, the Tao, or pure consciousness. It is the matrix from which reality arises. It is the white screen before the movie is projected. To go beyond the mind, you must learn to enter this space. You must learn to slip through the crack that exists between one thought and the next. In this chapter, we are going to explore the architecture of the void. We are going to learn to dissolve. We are going to discover that only when you become no one can you access the power to create anything. The illusion of solidity, 99.999%. To understand the field, we must first destroy the illusion of solid matter. Look at your hand. It seems solid. Touch the table. It feels hard. But if we looked at your hand through an atomic power microscope, the solidity would disappear. You would see atoms, and if we looked inside the atom, we would see a nucleus and electrons orbiting at an immense distance. If the nucleus were a basketball in the center of London, the electrons would be pinheads on the outskirts of the city. What is in between? What is in that immense space between the nucleus and the electron? Classical physics said, nothing, vacuum. Quantum physics says energy, information, potential. Your body, the chair, the planet, the entire universe, is composed of 99.9999% empty space. You are literally a ghost. You barely have matter. You are almost entirely space. However, we spend our entire lives obsessed with the 0.001% that we call matter, the body, the money, the house, the objects. We ignore 99.9% of what we are. That empty space is not the absence of things. It is the fullness of potential. It is an energy field so dense and vibrant that a single cubic centimeter of empty space contains more potential energy than all the matter in the known universe. It is the zero-point field, an infinite sea of light and information that connects everything to everything. You are not separate from that field. You are that field, temporarily disguised as matter. When you live from the mind, you live trapped in the 0.00001%, the particle. When you go beyond the mind, you access the 99.9999%, the wave. Where do you prefer to look for your solutions? In the small limited particle or in the infinite ocean of energy? Mental traffic and the gap. If the field is everywhere, why don't we feel it? Why can't we perform miracles at will? Because there is a constant interference that blocks the signal, compulsive thought. Imagine that the zero-point field is the blue sky. Your thoughts are clouds. For most human beings, the cloud layer is so dense, so dark, and so stormy that they have never seen the sky. Not once in their adult lives. They believe the sky is the clouds. They are so identified with the voice in their head that they say, I think, instead of I observe the thought. Your mind is a highway at rush hour. Thoughts are cars passing at full speed, bumper to bumper. Worry, memory, judgment, song, plan, fear, hunger, judgment. There is no space between them. It is a continuous flow of noise. This noise collapses reality into a fixed and dense form. It does not let new light in. But from time to time, something happens. There is a moment of awe before a sunset, a moment of orgasm, a moment of sneezing, a moment of deep shock. In those instants, the traffic stops. A small gap opens between two thoughts. An interval. In that microsecond of silence, you feel an inexplicable peace. You feel an expansion. You feel alive in a way you cannot describe. Why? Because for an instant, you stopped being the little me and touched the field. The work of the metaphysical master is to widen that gap. It is to find the space between thoughts and step inside. Because in that space, there is no time. There are no problems. There is no disease. In that space, only the pure presence of God exists, the ego's terror of the void. Here we face the greatest obstacle to accessing the field, the fear of annihilation. Your ego, the guardian from chapter 1, is built of time and memory. The ego is its stories. The ego is its problems. If you take away the ego's problems and its past, what remains? For the ego, nothing, death. That is why when you try to meditate and enter the silence, the ego panics. It feels that it is dissolving into nothingness, and it screams, think of something, anything, worry about dinner, remember what your boss told you, but do not stay in silence. Mental noise is the survival mechanism of your false identity. We think compulsively to ensure that we continue to exist as separate individuals. I think, therefore I am, as an ego. To cross into the 0-point field, you have to be willing to stop being you. You have to be willing to die metaphorically. You have to leave your name, your gender, your profession, your bank account, your illnesses, and your titles at the door. In the quantum field, people do not enter. Only pure consciousness enters. You cannot enter there as Juan, the lawyer who needs money. You have to enter as a consciousness without body, without space, and without time. This is called becoming no one, nowhere, and no time. It is the act of supreme humility. You take off the human costume to bathe in the source of the divine, and the paradox is, only when you become no one can you create everything. As long as you are someone, a fixed identity, you are limited by the laws of that someone. If you are Juan the sick man, you are limited by Juan's biology. If you become pure consciousness, you have no biology. You are energy. And energy can be reorganized into any new form. The physics of creation in the void. Why is this black space so powerful? Imagine you want to plant a new and beautiful garden, but your current land, your conscious mind, is full of old asphalt, ruined buildings and weeds, your old beliefs and recurring thoughts. If you throw new seeds, positive affirmations onto the asphalt and trash, nothing will grow. The conscious mind is too full. It is saturated with old information. The 0-point field is black, fertile, and empty earth. It is the quantum vacuum. There is no asphalt. There are no buildings. It is pure potentiality. When you manage to enter that deep state of no mind, theta or delta brainwaves, and you plant a seed there, a clear intention, there is no resistance. There is no voice saying you can't. There is no memory saying it's hard. The seed falls directly into the matrix of creation. And because the field is superconductive and connected to the entire universe, that seed begins to organize reality immediately. A thought in the 0-point field has a power millions of times superior to a thought in the supermarket line. A thought in the field is a direct order to matter. This explains spontaneous healings and instant miracles. When a person manages to completely let go of their identity as a sick person and touches the field, they step out of linear time. In the field, disease is only a configuration of energy. By letting go of the observation of the disease and entering pure possibility, the body reorganizes itself. The miracle is not a violation of physical laws. It is the activation of higher physical laws that only operate outside the influence of the ego. How to enter? The technique of divergent attention. The analytical mind is a narrow and hard light focus, convergent attention. It focuses on objects, car, house, pain, person. To enter the space, we need to change the type of attention. We need divergent attention, open focus. Instead of looking at the objects, we start looking at the space that the objects occupy. This is a neurological trick that calms beta brainwaves, stress, and activates alpha waves, imagination, and bridge. Do this mental experiment now. Do not think about your body. Feel the space surrounding your body. Feel the space between your ears. Feel the space between the walls of your room. Feel the space between the stars. When you put your attention on nothingness, on empty space, your brain stops analyzing. It cannot analyze nothingness. Then the analysis stops. The noise goes down. You begin to feel an expansion. You feel bigger than your body. The limits of your skin seem to dissolve. You no longer know where you end and where the world begins. You are entering the field. That sensation of dark and velvety immensity is the womb of creation. Stay there. Seek nothing. Ask for nothing yet. Just enjoy the freedom of being no one. Enjoy the rest of not having to hold up your mask. It is the only place where true rest exists. The holographic matrix. In this state of expanded consciousness, you discover a fascinating truth. Spatial separation is a lie. In the material world, 3D, if you want something, you have to go get it. There is a distance. You have to move your body through time to get the object. In the zero-point field, 5D or beyond, there is no distance. Everything is here. Everything is now. The field is holographic. Every point of the field contains the information of the entire universe. This means that what you desire, health, money, love, is not far away. It is not in the future. It is right there in the void, existing as a wave frequency. Since you are no longer a separate body, you don't have to go get it. You only have to invoke it vibrationally. You have to merge with the energy of your desire. In the void, you and your desire are the same energy. When you experience that union in meditation, when you feel that you already have what you wanted because you are the energy of what you wanted, the work is done. You have planted the footprint in the fabric of reality. When you open your eyes and return to the 3D world, you will see that the world begins to reorganize itself to bring you the desire. You do not go to the desire comes to you. That is the difference between pursuing what mind-ego and attracting what field or consciousness. The practice of conscious silence. Going beyond the mind is not something you do once and that's it. It is a daily practice of spiritual hygiene. Just as you shower to clean the dirt from the body, you must enter the space to clean the dirt from the mind. Stress, doubt, fear. Your goal is to spend time each day in God's waiting room. Sit down, close your eyes and seek the silence. At first, thoughts will attack you like flies. This is boring. My nose itches. I have to call Mom. Do not fight them. If you fight, you give them energy. Just observe them. Imagine you are sitting on the bank of a river and thoughts are floating logs. Let them pass. Do not get on any of them. And look for the gap. Look for the space of clean water between two logs. Notice the silence at the end of an exhalation before the next inhalation. Notice the silence beneath the street noises. Fall in love with that silence. It is a living silence, an electric silence. The more attention you pay to the space, the bigger it will become. Suddenly, the river of thoughts slows down. The logs are further apart. You begin to have periods of 10, 20, 30 seconds of pure nothingness. In those seconds, your body regenerates more than in 8 hours of sleep. In those seconds, your subconscious opens up to be reprogrammed. In those seconds, you are free. The travelers return. When you return from the zero-point field to your normal reality, something has changed. You are still Juan or Maria. You still have your job and your family. But you no longer take the game so seriously. You have seen what is behind the curtain. You know that solid reality is a flexible dream. You know that your problems are not as big as your infinite self. You bring with you a perfume of eternity, a background serenity that does not go away, even when there is chaos outside. You become less reactive. If someone insults you, your automatic ego no longer reacts. There is a space. In that space, you remember who you are, consciousness, and you decide not to be offended. If a crisis occurs, you do not panic. You go to the space, download the intuitive solution, and act. Living beyond the mind does not mean living disconnected from the world, floating on a cloud. It means living in the world, but connected to the source of the world. It means being a channel through which the zero-point field pours into physical reality. You become a conscious creator. You bring the order of the void to the chaos of matter. Empty the cup. You cannot fill a cup that is already full. If your mind is full of knowing, of opinions, of judgments, and of noise, God cannot enter. There is no room. That is why intellectuals often suffer so much. Their cups are overflowing with explanations, but empty of experience. To receive infinite wisdom, you have to empty yourself. You have to cultivate the beginner's mind, the not knowing. The space between thoughts is that emptying. Every time you enter the void, you empty yourself, of your limited little me. And nature abhors a vacuum. At the moment you empty yourself of ego, the universe rushes to fill you. It fills you with vital energy, prana, chi. It fills you with inspiration. It fills you with unconditional love. The more you erase yourself, the more you appear. The more you disappear as a character, the more you shine as a presence. Chapter 4, Beyond Time. Breaking Linearity, the Eternal Now. There is one last prison from which we must escape before we can be totally free. It is a prison without bars, but more solid than steel. A prison you carry on your wrist and on the screen of your phone. We are talking about time. The human mind is obsessed with linearity. It believes that life is a straight line going from point A, birth, to point B, death, passing through a series of causal events. It believes that the past is something that already happened and is unchangeable. It believes that the future is something that does not yet exist and is far away over there. And it believes that the present is just an insignificant and fleeting bridge between what was and what will be. This linear vision of time is the fundamental cause of anxiety and impossibility. If you believe that your desire is in the future, you automatically place it out of your reach. You create a distance, and where there is distance, there is waiting, and where there is waiting, there is suffering. But what if I told you that time, as you know it, is a neurological lie? Physicists from Einstein to modern string theorists tell us that time does not flow. Time is a dimension, like space. Imagine a landscape. The mountains, past, the valley where you are, present, and the river in the distance, future, all exist simultaneously in the landscape. The fact that you are in the valley does not mean the mountain has ceased to exist, nor that the river does not exist yet. Everything is there. Only your focus of attention moves. Going beyond the mind implies stepping out of the illusion of the clock and entering the reality of the eternal now. In this chapter, we are going to break the clock. We are going to learn to travel in time without moving from where we are. We are going to discover that patience is not the capacity to wait, but the capacity to understand that there is nothing to wait for. The sickness of later. The egoic mind has a chronic disease. It is never where the body is. Observe your mind right now. It is probably anticipating the end of this chapter or thinking about what you will do after listening to this. The mind lives in the after. I will be happy after I get the job. I will rest after I retire. I will feel complete after I find my soulmate. This mental habit creates a fracture in your soul. Your body is here, but your energy is there. You are misaligned, and a misaligned person has no power. This constant projection toward the future creates a vibration of perpetual lack. If your happiness depends on the future, it means that in the present you lack it. The universe, which responds to your current frequency, reads that signal of I lack and gives you more lack. It is the cruel paradox of linear hope. Waiting for the future is the best way to ensure it never arrives. Because waiting is a state of being. If you are someone who waits, the universe will keep you waiting forever. To be faithful to your identity. To manifest, you must collapse time. You must bring the future into the present. You must feel the emotion of the fulfilled desire now. not as a fantasy of what will be, but as gratitude for what is on the quantum plane. Vertical time versus horizontal time. The ancient Greeks had two words for time, chronos and kairos. Chronos, horizontal time. It is the time of the clock, seconds, minutes, hours. It is the time of the mind. It is linear, devouring, and finite. In Chronos, you age and die. In Chronos, you are always late. Kairos, vertical time. It is God's time. It is the opportune moment. It is not measured in quantity, but in depth. Most people live trapped in the horizontal line, running toward death, trying to accumulate things along the way. Going beyond the mind is learning to move in the vertical line. Vertical time is a cross-section of reality. It is stopping in the present instant and going deep into it. Instead of asking what comes next, you ask, what is here? When you enter deeply into the now, the clock stops. Surely you have lived moments of vertical time, a passionate kiss, a moment of extreme danger, an uncontrollable laugh, or a state of creative flow. In those moments, you lost track of time. 5 minutes could have passed, or 5 hours. It didn't matter. You were in eternity. Access to the quantum field, to magic, and to manifestation is only found on the vertical axis. The 0-point field does not exist yesterday or tomorrow. It only exists always. If you want to connect with the source to recharge your energy or download a $1 million idea, you have to step out of horizontality, future, past worry, and dive into the verticality of the present. That is where the power is. The power of now that masters speak of is not just a relaxation technique, it is a dimensional access technique. The door to the infinite only opens in the present second. If you are thinking about the future, you are knocking on a door where no one is home. The physics of retrocausality, healing the past. The logical mind believes that cause always precedes effect. The past creates the present. If you had a traumatic childhood, cause, today you are an insecure adult, effect. The mind sees the past as a stone statue. What is done is done. But quantum physics introduces a mind-blowing concept, retrocausality. Recent experiments suggest that a decision made in the present can affect how a particle behaved in the past. Time is symmetrical. What does this mean for your life? It means the past is not written in stone, it is written in memory, and memory is plastic, it is energy. Every time you remember a traumatic event from the past and feel the same emotion of pain, you are recreating that past now. You are solidifying the statue. You are bringing the trauma into the present and allowing it to define your future. But if from the power of the now vertical, you change your perception of the past, you change the past. You do not change the physical facts, who did what, but you change the energetic charge of the event. If you look at your difficult past not as a tragedy that damaged you, but as necessary training that made you strong, you change the frequency of the memory. By changing the emotion associated with the memory, from pain to gratitude or acceptance, you rewrite the code. Literally, you alter the neural structure of your brain. You stop being a victim of the past and become the creator of the past. From the now, you can travel back, embrace your inner child, give them the love they did not receive, and change their vibration. By healing your timeline backward, you release your timeline forward. The self that is freed from the weight of yesterday is a rocket ready to take off toward tomorrow. The past does not determine you. You determine the past from your current level of consciousness. The illusion of distance. Why does what I want take so long to arrive? This is the ego's #1 complaint. I have been visualizing for a month and nothing is happening. The problem here is the belief in distance. You believe your desire is an object that is far away and has to travel toward you. And because the physical world is dense, the journey is slow. But in Chapter 3 we saw that in the quantum field there is no space. Everything is non-local. Your desire is not far away. Your desire is here, but on another frequency. It is like 2 television channels. Channel 1, your current life, and Channel 5, your dream life, are both in the room right now, traveling through the air. Channel 5 is not far from Channel 1. They occupy the same space. The only difference is the decoding frequency. The time it takes to manifest something is not the time it takes for the object to come. It is the time it takes you to change your frequency to match that of the object. The delay is not geographical, it is vibratory. If you could change your frequency instantaneously and hold it without doubt, without going back to channel 1 every time you open your eyes, manifestation would be instantaneous. Miracles are simply collapses of time. They occur when someone jumps frequency so radically that they skip the intermediate steps. When you ask how much longer, you are affirming, I am not on the frequency yet. You are revalidating the distance. You are resetting the clock. Mastery is living with the absolute certainty that it is already here, even if your physical eyes do not see it yet. It is that certainty that dissolves time. Ansiedad as practical atheism. Let's analyze the emotion that dominates our relationship with time, anxiety. What is anxiety? It is the mind trying to control a future that does not yet exist, using data from a past that no longer exists, ignoring the only moment that exists, the now. Anxiety is a lack of trust in life. It is a form of egoic arrogance that says, I have to solve everything because the universe is incompetent or evil. In spiritual terms, anxiety is a form of practical atheism. You can say you believe in God or the universe, but if you live anxiously, you are acting as if you were alone and helpless. If you really believed there was a benevolent intelligence sustaining you, why would you be anxious? Going beyond the mind implies curing the addiction to hurry. Hurry is violence against the present moment. When you are in a hurry, you are implicitly saying, this moment is not good enough, I want the next one. You are rejecting life as it presents itself now. And since life only happens now, you are rejecting life itself. It is no wonder that people in a chronic hurry feel empty and dead inside. They have been running away from life while racing toward death. To heal this, practice conscious slowness. When you feel the urge to run without a real threat, deliberately slow down. Walk slower, eat slower, breathe slower. Tell your guardian, there is no rush. We will arrive at the perfect moment. I trust in divine time, Kairos. By slowing down your body, you force your mind to enter the present. And in the present, anxiety dissolves, because anxiety needs future to survive. Without projected future, anxiety cannot exist. The memory of the future. Here we enter an advanced technique of quantum metaphysics. If time is not linear and everything happens at once in the eternal now, then your future has already happened. Your successful, healthy, and happy self exists right now in a layer of reality, just as real as your current self. If it already exists, you can remember it. Normally, we use memory to go backward, but we also have the faculty to use memory to go forward. We call it vision or prophecy, but it is simply tuning into a future memory. When you visualize your dream, you are not imagining it, in the sense of inventing something unreal. You are downloading it. You are accessing the data of an existing timeline. The powerful exercise here is to feel the nostalgia of the future. You know that feeling of remembering a happy moment from the past, that warmth, that certainty, that happened. Try to generate that same feeling with your future. Remember your future success with the same naturalness with which you remember your breakfast today. Ah yes, how wonderful it was when I got that promotion. What a relief I felt when the doctor told me I was cured. Treat the future event as an accomplished fact in your memory. When you manage to trick your brain into filing the future as a memory, the brain stops fighting. It stops doubting. For the brain, what is in memory is real. If you remember the future, your body will prepare biologically for it, and the quantum field will have no choice but to update your physical reality to match your memory. Active versus passive patience. In talking about transcending time, we must redefine patience. Traditional patience is passive. I endure and suffer while I wait. It is gritting your teeth. That is resistance. Metaphysical patience is active. It is a state of expectant calm. It is like when you order a dish in a luxury restaurant. You know the chef is cooking. You know it is going to be delicious. You don't go to the kitchen every 2 minutes to yell at the chef. You don't eat the napkins out of anxiety. You wait while enjoying the wine, conversing, enjoying the atmosphere. You know the dish is coming. It is a fact. Delay is not absence, it is preparation. That is the attitude of the master. I have launched my intention, the order. The universe, the chef, is preparing it. While it arrives, I am going to enjoy this present moment. This patience does not suffer. It enjoys, it understands that gestation time is necessary. A pregnant mother is not anxious at 4 months asking, "Why isn't it born yet?" She knows the baby needs 9 months to be perfect. Your dream needs its gestation time in the invisible world before being born in the visible. If you try to force it ahead of time, with your logical mind and your hurry, you will have a manifestation miscarriage. It will come out incomplete or weak. Respect the cycles. Respect divine time. Living in the eternal now, the practice. How do you live this on a Tuesday morning? By making the present moment your primary residence. Most people visit the present from time to time, but live in their heads. You must move into the now. Sensory focus. When your mind goes to the future, worry, use your senses to return. Touch a texture, smell the coffee, listen to the birds. The senses are always in the present. Use them as anchors. Radical acceptance. Whatever is happening now, accept it as if you had chosen it. If you are in a traffic jam, do not fight. Say, "I am in a traffic jam. This is the now." By accepting psychological time, the waiting disappears. Only the experience remains. Single tasking. Do one thing at a time. When you eat, eat. When you walk, walk. When you speak, listen. Multitasking is an invention of the ego to escape the present. Single tasking is a moving meditation. The end of death. The final frontier that breaks the transcendence of time is the fear of death. The ego is terrified of death because it lives in linear time. It sees death as a cliff at the end of the line, the end of the story. But if you live in the eternal now, you realize that life is not a line but a point that expands eternally. Consciousness is not born and does not die. Consciousness is. You do not have a life, you are life. The body is a temporary suit that exists in chronological time. It wears out. But the observer, the being that looks through your eyes, is timeless. It was never born and will never die. When you touch this truth in meditation, when you feel your own eternity, the fundamental fear disappears, and a person without fear of death is a person without fear of life. They dare to do everything, they love without reservation, they play big, because they know they have nothing to lose. They know they are infinite. Chapter 5. The Law of Resonance. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. You have been told that if you cut out photos of a Ferrari and paste them onto a poster board, the Ferrari will appear in your garage, and when that doesn't happen, you blame yourself. You think you didn't desire it enough, but the problem is not your desire. The problem is the verb. The word attract is misleading. It suggests that you are here, the object is there, and you have to exert magnetic force to pull it toward you. It suggests distance and effort. It suggests that you are a hunter, and your dream is the prey. In advanced metaphysics, beyond the mind, we do not use the word attraction. We use a much more precise, scientific, and honest word, resonance. The law of resonance establishes a brutal and absolute truth. You never attract what you want. You attract, inexorably, what you are. The universe does not respond to your mental whims or your wish lists. The universe responds to your identity signature. If you want love mentally but you are fear of loneliness, viscerally, reality will bring you more loneliness, because that is your signature. You cannot deceive the cosmic mirror. The mirror does not reflect what you would like to be. It reflects what is standing in front of it. In this chapter, we are going to stop trying to manipulate the outside world. We are going to stop pursuing. We are going to learn to become the very thing we seek, so that reality has no other physical choice but to match us. The cosmic tuning fork. To understand resonance, let's forget magic and look at acoustics. Imagine a room full of tuning forks, those U-shaped metal instruments musicians use for tuning. There are tuning forks tuned to the notes C, to D, to A, etc. If you take a tuning fork tuned to A and strike it, it will begin to vibrate and emit sound. Now observe what happens in the room. All the other tuning forks tuned to A will begin to vibrate spontaneously, without anyone touching them. They have entered sympathetic resonance. But the tuning forks tuned to C or D will remain motionless and in silence. They don't care that the other one is vibrating. It is not their frequency. They are invisible to each other. You are a living tuning fork. Your biological structure, your subconscious beliefs, and your dominant emotional state determine your tuning. If you are tuned to the frequency of the victim, poor me, everything goes wrong for me, you are going to activate, awaken, and magnetize all the people and circumstances in the world that vibrate at the frequency of the executioner. The abusive boss, the partner who cheats on you, the friend who betrays you, all of them will enter your life through sympathetic resonance. It is not bad luck, it is physics. You struck the note and they responded. At the same time, opportunities for success, kind people and abundance, which vibrate on another note, will remain motionless before you. They will pass by your side and you won't see them, nor will they see you. There is no match. This explains why you can work very hard, physical action, be very intelligent, logical mind, and yet still be stuck in the same patterns. If you do not change your internal tuning, you will continue to make the same strings of the universe vibrate over and over again. Going beyond the mind is to stop trying to change the external tuning forks, the people, the world, and focus obsessively on tuning your own instrument. The deception of wanting. Let's analyze the vibration of the word want. The egoic mind lives wanting things. It is a desiring machine. But metaphysically, desire is the confirmation of absence. You only desire what you do not have. No one says, I desire my shoes while they are wearing them. They simply have their shoes. When you spend the day saying, I want money, I need money, I desire money, you are sending a very clear resonance signal to the field. I am someone who does not have money. Your identity is the one who does not have, and the universe, which is an impartial photocopying system, says, understood, you are the one who does not have. Here are more circumstances of not having to validate your identity. The paradox of resonance is cruel. To have something, you first have to stop wanting it from a place of need. You have to find a way to feel whole without the object. You have to vibrate in I have before having. This seems impossible for the logical mind. How am I going to feel rich if I don't have a cent? But it is the only door. You must use your imagination and your future memory, Chapter 4, to generate the state of being of satisfaction. When you vibrate in gratitude and sufficiency, your resonance changes. You stop being a vacuum cleaner, trying to suck energy, and you become a sun irradiating energy. And planets orbit suns. Identity versus positive thinking. Many people confuse resonance with positive thinking. They stand in front of the mirror and say, I am a millionaire, but deep down they feel ridiculous. Their thought says, wealth, surface level. Their identity says, imposter, poor, deep level. The law of resonance always obeys identity. Your identity is the set of subconscious beliefs about who you are and what you deserve. It is the thermostat of your life. If your subconscious identity is, I am a person who always struggles to survive, it doesn't matter how much money you earn by luck or effort, you will lose it. Your resonance will reject abundance because it does not match your identity. It is like an incompatible organ transplant. The system expels it. We see this in lottery winners who go broke in 2 years. Their bank account changed, but their resonance did not. Physical reality had to readjust to match their internal poverty. To change your life, it is not enough to think positively. You have to change your personality. You have to kill the old you. You have to stop telling your old story. Stop telling your friends how badly things are going for you. Stop remembering your traumas. Stop identifying with your illnesses. Every time you repeat your victim story, you reaffirm your tuning in that note. You have to start building a new identity from scratch. Who would I be if I already had everything I desire? How would I walk? How would I speak? How would I breathe? Start being that character now, not as a fake performance, but as a practice of vibratory retuning. When your identity changes, your reality changes automatically, without effort. It is law. The mirror of relationships. Where the law of resonance becomes most painful and most useful is in human relationships. Your relationships are the most polished mirror of your resonance. We tend to think we are victims of how others treat us. My partner does not respect me. My children do not listen to me. My friends ignore me. The metaphysical truth is hard. No one can treat you in a way that you are not treating yourself first in your subconscious. The other is only a supporting actor who has accepted the script that you wrote. If you deep down do not respect yourself, you vibrate in unworthiness. That vibration attracts someone who will disrespect you. That person is the messenger who brings you the news of your own frequency. If you get angry with the messenger and get a divorce or fight, you have understood nothing. You will change partners, but the next one will treat you the same or worse, because you are still emitting the same signal. The outside world has no will of its own over you. It is a biofeedback system. If you do not like what you see in the mirror of your relationships, do not break the mirror. Clean your face. Start respecting yourself radically. Start loving yourself. Start setting sacred boundaries. When you change your resonance to, I am worthy and valuable, one of two things will happen. 1. The people who did not respect you will magically change their behavior to match your new frequency. 2. The people who cannot respect you will leave your life because there is no longer resonance, and new people who do value you will enter. Either way, the problem is solved when you change. Environment and entrainment. In physics, there is a principle called entrainment. If you have two pendulums oscillating near each other, the larger and stronger pendulum will force the smaller one to synchronize with its rhythm. The law of resonance is not only passive, it is dynamic. Your environment has a frequency. Your city, your house, your workplace, your group of friends. If you try to raise your vibration, vibrate in hope and success, but you live immersed in a dense environment, friends who complain, toxic news, disorder, a battle of frequencies occurs. Either you are strong enough to entrain your environment, be the energetic leader, or your environment will entrain you, decoherence. Most of the time, the environment wins because it is massive and constant. To protect your new resonance while it strengthens, it is sometimes necessary to practice strategic isolation. Stay away from sources of discordant noise. Stop seeing people who lower your energy. Turn off the television. Create a high-frequency bubble. Feed on books, audio, nature, and silence. You are incubating a new version of yourself. An embryo needs protection. Once your new frequency is solid and stable, like an oak, you can return to the toxic environment and it will not affect you. You may even be able to heal it, but not before. Heart coherence, the magnet. We have said that you attract what you are, but what are you? You are, fundamentally, your emotional state. The HeartMath Institute has scientifically proven that when a person feels regenerative emotions, gratitude, appreciation, love, their heart rate becomes coherent, smooth and ordered. This coherence creates an electromagnetic field in the shape of a toroid, donut, that expands several meters outside the body. That field is your shield and your antenna. When you are in coherence, your nervous system stops functioning as an antenna for static noise, stress, and becomes a laser. Information travels without resistance. In this state, synchronicity is triggered. You think of someone and they call you. You need something and you find it. Why? Because you have eliminated the resistance from your field. You have become superconductive. The law of resonance works without friction. People call this luck. It is not luck, it is vibratory efficiency. You are stopping the waste of energy on fear and worry, and all that energy is being used to magnetize your reality. The void, creating space to resonate. For something new to enter your life by resonance, there must be an empty space to house it. This is a physical law. Two things cannot occupy the same space at the same time. If your life is full of old things, old thoughts, old grudges, and old objects, there is no room for the new. Many ask for a new partner, but continue sleeping in their ex's t-shirt and stalking their social networks. Energetically, the space is occupied. The signal is, I am occupied with the past. Many ask for new money, but have wallets full of old receipts, a house cluttered with useless junk, and a mind full of worries. There is no void. The fastest way to activate the law of resonance is to make a void. Clean your house. Throw away what is not useful. Forgive, let go of, whoever offended you. Not for them, but to free up space on your mental hard drive. Cancel subscriptions, close cycles. Tell the universe, Look at this empty space I have created. I am ready. Nature abhors a vacuum. The universe will rush to fill that hole, and if you keep your frequency high, it will fill it with things that match that height. The act of letting go is an act of faith. It is telling fear, I trust so much in what is coming that I do not need to cling to what is going. The subtle difference between acting as if and being. In the world of personal development, there is a lot of talk about fake it till you make it. This is dangerous if misinterpreted. If you fake being rich by buying things you cannot afford, you are generating anxiety, fear of debt. Your resonance is fear, not wealth. You will attract ruin. Going beyond the mind is not acting outward. It is feeling inward. It is not about buying the expensive suit. It is about feeling the dignity and security you feel when you wear the suit, even if you are in pajamas. It is about capturing the vibratory essence of the desire. Ask yourself, why do I want that car? What emotion do I believe it will give me? Perhaps the emotion is freedom, or power, or security. Good. Forget the car for a moment. Concentrate on freedom. How can you feel freedom right now? By walking in the park? By taking a deep breath. Generate the frequency of freedom with the tools you have today. Saturate your field with freedom. When you do that, you enter into resonance with the essence of your desire, and the universe will bring you the car, or something much better that gives you even more freedom. The object is secondary, the essence is primary. The reality test. How do you know what you are really vibrating? It's easy. Look at your life. Your current life is a perfect 3D print of your resonance from yesterday. Your bank account, your health, your friends. They are the report card. Do not judge yourself. Do not blame yourself. Just observe the data. Just, my reality reflects chaos. That means I have been vibrating in chaos. Interesting. Without judgment, there is no resistance. Without resistance, you can change the dial. If you do not like the radio program, you do not yell at the device. You simply change the station. Change your reaction to life. If something bad happens, do not react with your usual pattern, anger, fear. That is striking the old note again. Stop, breathe, and choose a new response. Choose peace. Choose trust. By doing that, you break the karmic cycle. You tell the universe, I am no longer that person who gets angry. I am the person who maintains peace. You have changed your signature. Reality will take a little while to readjust. There is a time delay in matter, as we saw in Chapter 4, but change is inevitable. The paradox of darkness, resonating with the shadow. Finally, let's talk about what we hide. Everything you repress persists. If you try to be all love and light, and you repress your anger, your jealousy, and your pain, hiding them in the basement of your subconscious, those monsters continue to vibrate. And they vibrate strongly because they are under pressure. That is your shadow. And your shadow also emits a resonance frequency. If you repress your aggressiveness, you will attract aggressive people who will act it out for you. To clear your resonance, you have to integrate your shadow. You have to accept your full humanity. Yes, sometimes I am afraid. Yes, sometimes I feel envy, and I completely accept myself this way. When you illuminate the shadow with the light of consciousness and acceptance, it stops vibrating at a low frequency. It is transmuted. The energy you spent hiding your demons is now free to create your angels. A person of integrity, who integrates light and shadow, has a much more powerful resonance than a person who pretends to be a saint. Authenticity is the most magnetic frequency that exists. Chapter 6, Intuition. The technology of the spirit, direct information downloads. This is where most spiritual seekers stumble. They fall back into the trap of the logical mind. They make lists of pros and cons. They ask 10 different people for advice. They analyze statistics. They are paralyzed by analysis. They try to navigate the infinite ocean of life using an old wrinkled roadmap that only shows the territory they already know. But to go beyond the mind, you need a navigation system that does not depend on memory or the past. You need a system that can read the terrain in real time, even if there is fog. You need a GPS connected directly to the satellite of universal intelligence. That system is already installed in your biological hardware. We call it intuition. Unfortunately, our rationalist culture has degraded intuition to the category of a hunch, superstition, or a women's thing. We have been taught that the smart thing is to think, and that feeling is for the weak. This is the greatest intellectual fraud in history. Intuition is not an inferior emotion, it is a superior technology. It is the ability to download complete and complex information packets directly from the quantum field, skipping the slow process of linear reasoning. While logic climbs the stairs step by step, A plus B equals C, intuition takes the elevator straight to the penthouse A Z. In this chapter, we are going to reactivate this technology. We will learn to differentiate the voice of the spirit from the voice of fear, and we will discover that true intelligence does not think, it knows. The bandwidth, dial-up versus fiber optics. Let's compare your two operating systems. Your logical mind, intellect, is a local computer. It runs on the data stored on its hard drive, your memory, your education, your past experiences. If you face a new situation that isn't in your database, the logical mind freezes or tries to force an old solution onto a new problem. Its processing speed is, comparatively, like a 90s internet connection, dial-up. It is slow, sequential, and noisy. It has to process word by word. Your intuitive mind, spirit, is an access terminal to the cloud. It doesn't store the data. It connects to the big data of the universe, the Akashic or zero-point field. It has access to information you have never learned, to places you have never been, and to futures that have not yet occurred. Its speed is instantaneous, quantum fiber optics. Intuition does not explain things to you, it delivers them. It is a download. Suddenly, in a millisecond, you know. You have the complete solution, the entire invention, the absolute certainty of which path to take. Later, your logical mind will take days, months, or years to unzip that file and explain in words what intuition understood in an instant. Einstein, Tesla, Mozart, all the great geniuses of humanity operated this way. They didn't think up their theories or symphonies, they received them. And then they used logic only to translate them onto paper. Going beyond the mind is changing your default operating system. It is stopping the use of the limited hard drive and starting to work from the cloud. The biology of knowing, the three brains. Modern science is beginning to confirm what the ancients knew. You do not have only one brain, you have three. And intuition uses all three, often ignoring the one in the head. 1. The encephalic brain, head, processes logic, language, and images. It is the final decoder, but rarely the original receiver. It often arrives late to the party. 2. The cardiac brain, heart, has 40,000 sensory neurons and a massive magnetic field. The heart perceives emotional and vibratory information before the brain. Experiments have shown that the heart reacts to an impactful image seconds before the image appears on the screen. The heart knows the immediate future. 3. The enteric brain, gut. You have millions of neurons in your digestive system. It is the instinctive brain. It produces 95% of your serotonin. When you have a knot in your stomach or a gut feeling, it is this brain processing information of danger or truth at a primary level. Intuition is a full-body phenomenon. Often, the signal reaches the body first. You feel an expansion in your chest, yes, or a contraction in your stomach, no. You feel a chill of truth, goosebumps, or a heaviness of lies. The problem is that as soon as the body receives the signal, the logical mind, the ego, intervenes and says, "Don't be ridiculous, that makes no sense. Look at the numbers, do the safe thing." And we discard somatic wisdom to follow logical stupidity. Reactivating intuition requires re-inhabiting the body. You have to learn to read your own biofeedback. Your body is the antenna, your mind is only the screen. If the antenna catches the signal, but the screen is off or tuned to another channel, mental noise, you miss the message. The information packet, silent certainty. What does real intuition feel like? How is it different from a normal thought? The distinguishing characteristic of intuition is emotional neutrality and certainty. Intuition does not scream, it isn't dramatic, it doesn't try to convince you, it doesn't debate, it simply presents the information. It is a quiet, dry and direct voice that says, "Go left," or "Do not sign that contract," or "Call this person now." It doesn't give you reasons. It doesn't tell you, go left, because there is traffic on the right. It only says, go left. It is a knowing without thinking. It is what we call claircognizance, clear knowing. Suddenly the concept is there. It's as if someone turned on a light in a dark room. You no longer have to grope the walls. You see the exit. This certainty is usually accompanied by a sense of peace or relief, even if the instruction is difficult to follow. For example, your intuition might tell you, leave this secure job. Your logical mind will scream in fear, you're crazy, we'll starve. But beneath the scream of fear, at your core, there is a solid sense of peace that says, it is the time. Everything will be fine. That subterranean peace is God's signature. The ego is noisy, repetitive, argumentative, and anxious. The spirit is silent, unique, direct, and peaceful. The 3-second test. There is a practical rule for catching intuition on the fly. Intuition always speaks first. Given any stimulus or question, the first response that arises within the space of the first 2 or 3 seconds is usually the intuitive one. It is that first flash. Immediately after second 3, the logical mind enters. It begins to doubt, rationalize, justify, and edit. Well, maybe it's not quite like that. But what will my mother think? It's too expensive. That second voice is the guardian of the threshold trying to regain control. The training consists of catching that first bird before the flock of logical crows scares it away. Learn to trust your first impression. If you meet someone and your first instant flash is watch out, and then your mind says don't be prejudiced, he's well-dressed, he's kind, listen to the flash. Your intuitive system has scanned the micro-expression, the pheromone, the energy field, and the hidden intention of that person in a nanosecond. Your logical mind has only seen the suit. The spirit's first impression is almost never wrong. The ego's second opinion is almost always wrong. Fear versus intuition, the great dilemma. This is the question that torments students the most. How do I know if what I feel is a warning from my intuition or simply my fear and my past traumas? Because both can say, don't do it. Distinguishing them is an art, but there are clear markers. The quality of the vibration. Fear feels agitated, hot, frantic. It is often located in the throat or the upper solar plexus. It is accompanied by mental horror stories. What if this happens? What if it goes wrong? It is expansive in its drama. Intuition feels sober, cool, grounded. It is often felt in the lower stomach or as a clarity in the forehead. It doesn't tell stories. It is data. Don't go. Period. Time. Fear is in a hurry. It pushes you. Decide now or you'll lose the opportunity, or run fast. Urgency is usually a sign of ego. Intuition is timeless. It can be firm, but it rarely has that anxiety of hurry. It tells you what needs to be done with a calm authority. It has patience. If you ignore the message, it will present itself just as calmly tomorrow. Fear, if ignored, screams louder. The origin. Fear wants to avoid pain or loss. It runs away from something. Intuition moves you toward truth or growth. It goes toward something, even if that growth implies a challenge. Sometimes intuition will tell you to do something that scares you, like public speaking or leaving a relationship. In that case, you will feel terror on the surface, ego, but a deep correctness at the bottom, spirit. Follow the depth, not the surface. Non-locality. The universe speaks to you. Intuition doesn't only happen inside you, it happens outside. Since the field is holographic and everything is connected, the universe uses the environment to send you messages. This is what we call signs. You are hesitating about whether to move to another city. Suddenly you see a license plate with the initials of that city. Then a song on the radio mentions the city. Then a friend you haven't seen in years calls you and tells you they just got back from that city. Is it a coincidence? To the logical mind, yes, it is a random statistical coincidence. To the intuitive mind, there is no randomness. It is synchronicity. It is the quantum field organizing reality to confirm the path for you. Signs are the universe's winks. They are breadcrumbs. The universe is very polite. It doesn't shout unless necessary. First it whispers, internal intuition. If you still don't listen, it throws a stone at you, crisis, accident, to stop you. Learning to read subtle signs saves you from having to learn through the stones. When you ask for a sign, keep your eyes open. The answer might come on a billboard, in a stranger's conversation you overhear on the bus, or in a typo. The whole world is an oracle when you are awake. The courage to look crazy. Here we reach the social barrier. Following your intuition will often make you look illogical, irresponsible, or crazy in the eyes of others, and in the eyes of your own ego. Your intuition might tell you, sell the house now. The logic of the market and your friends will say, it's the worst time to sell, you'll lose money. If you follow intuition, everyone will criticize you. 6 months later, the real estate market brutally collapses, and you were saved because you sold earlier. Then everyone will say, how lucky you were. It wasn't luck. It was privileged information from the field. But to access that advantage, you had to endure the period of misunderstanding. You had to have the courage to trust your inner guide more than external opinion. This is the price of admission. You cannot live beyond the mind and at the same time need the approval of the minds of others. You must be willing to walk alone sometimes. You must be willing to have no logical explanations for your actions. Why are you doing it? Because I know. Because I feel it. To the sleeping world, that is not a valid answer. To the awake, it is the only answer necessary. Steve Jobs dropped out of college, went to India, studied calligraphy, something apparently useless, and followed strange hunches. Years later, that intuition gave birth to the Max typography and the most valuable company in the world. Logic keeps you in the average, intuition takes you to genius. The practice, the intuitive muscle. Intuition is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it atrophies. If you use it, it strengthens. Most of us have atrophied muscles because we have spent decades delegating our decisions to logic or to external authorities, parents, teachers, bosses, experts. How do we rehabilitate it? With low-risk exercises. Don't start by asking your intuition, should I get a divorce? Why? There is too much emotional weight and fear there. Start with trivial things. The traffic light exercise. When driving or walking, try to feel if the next light will be green or red before you see it. The phone exercise. When the phone rings, before looking, try to feel who it is. The menu exercise. In a restaurant, don't read the menu analyzing prices or calories. Close your eyes for a second, put your hand on the menu and ask, what does my body want today? And choose the first thing that jumps out, even if it's something you never order. The route home. Ask, which way am I going today? If you feel left, go left, even if it's the long way. Maybe you avoid an accident, or maybe you see something beautiful you needed to see. Every time you follow a small intuition, and the result is positive or interesting, your brain secretes dopamine. You are rewiring your neurology. You are teaching your ego that it is safe to trust the invisible. Little by little, as you accumulate successes in small things, you will have the confidence to use intuition in life or death decisions. A day will come when the guidance is so clear that disobeying it will be impossible. A day will come when you will live in a constant flow of downloaded instructions. You will no longer plan your life. Your life will reveal itself to you step by step. The future is pulling you. To close this chapter, I want to offer you a quantum vision of intuition. We usually think that the past pushes the present toward the future, causality. But in quantum physics, there is the possibility that the future is pulling the present, attractor. Imagine that your future self, the version of you that has already achieved the purpose, that is already full and realized, is acting as a lighthouse. That future self is emitting a signal backward in time. Intuition is nothing more than you listening to the instructions of your future self. Those hunches are the golden thread connecting you with your highest destiny. When you ignore intuition, you disconnect from your best possible future. You stay spinning in repetitive time loops, karma. When you follow intuition, you are taking the shortcut to who you truly are. Intuition is ultimately the memory of the future. It is the universe's way of economizing energy. The universe wants you to reach your fullness through the path of least resistance. The logical mind takes you through the path of stones, trial and error. Intuition takes you through the path of water, flow. Chapter 7. Quantum Deprogramming, Erasing the Code of the Past. Imagine you have just bought the most advanced software in the world, a program capable of designing skyscrapers, composing symphonies, and predicting the stock market. You are excited. You get home, turn on your old computer, and try to install it. But the screen freezes. Error messages appear. The entire system crashes immediately. Is the problem the new software? No, it is perfect. The problem is that your hard drive is full of viruses, corrupt files from 20 years ago, and an obsolete operating system that is not compatible with new technology. You cannot install Abundance 5.0 over Scarcity 1.0. The system will collapse. First, you have to format the disk. We have learned to listen to intuition, the new software. But many of you will feel an immense frustration. I hear the voice telling me to fly, but I have chains on my feet that won't let me take off. Those chains are your programming. They are the automatic algorithms running in the background, dictating 95% of your daily reactions. This programming does not live only in your mind as abstract ideas. It lives in your neural networks, in the chemistry of your blood, and in the very structure of your DNA. The past is not a memory. It is a physical structure in your body. To go beyond the mind, thinking differently is not enough. You have to dismantle the old you. In this chapter, we are going to enter the engine room with a blowtorch. We are going to learn the science of quantum deprogramming. We are going to erase the code of suffering so that the code of the miracle can run freely. We will format the hardware. The ghost in the machine. What is a paradigm? Your life is controlled by what you believe. Your life is not controlled by what you know, but by what you believe without knowing that you believe it. We call this set of subconscious beliefs a paradigm. A paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over your habitual behavior. And remember, habit is destiny. If your paradigm says life is hard, you will struggle. If your paradigm says life is hard and you have to fight to earn money, it does not matter how much you visualize or pray. Your nervous system will filter reality to show you only difficulties. Your reticular system, RAS, will make you blind to easy opportunities because they violate your source code. You cannot see what you do not believe. The great error of traditional therapy and much self-help is trying to change the paradigm by talking to it. We spend years with the psychologist analyzing why we are insecure. It's because my father yelled at me. Understanding the origin of the virus does not kill the virus. Analysis is a function of the conscious, logical mind. The paradigm lives in the subconscious, biological mind. They speak different languages. Analyzing your traumas from the conscious mind is like trying to fix a broken engine by explaining to it how combustion works. The engine does not need explanations. It needs a mechanic to get his hands into the grease. We must work on the energy. Quantum deprogramming does not seek to understand the problem. It seeks to dissolve the energetic wave that sustains the problem. The biology of emotional addiction. Here we enter the hard science of change. Why is it so difficult to change, even when you want to change? Because your body is addicted to the old you. It is a drug. Every thought you have produces a chemical reaction in the brain. If you have victim thoughts, poor me, your brain releases specific neuropeptides of sadness and victimhood. Those chemicals travel through the blood and dock with the receptors of your cells. Your cells drink that chemistry. They have become used to that daily dose. If you have spent 20 years feeling like a victim, your cells have become addicted to the drug of victimization. They have modified their structure to receive more of that substance. Your body has turned into an unconscious mind. Now, let's say you decide to change. You say, "Today I'm going to be happy and positive." You stop the dose. You stop producing the chemistry of sadness. A few hours pass. Your cells notice their usual dose is not arriving. They begin to have withdrawal symptoms. They send an alarm signal to the brain. "Hey, where is my suffering? I need my fix." The body begins to manipulate the mind. It makes you feel restless, anxious, and totally empty. It throws automatic negative thoughts at you to provoke you, so that you get angry or sad, and thus the brain releases the old chemistry again. If you yield to those thoughts, the body receives its dose and calms down. You feel bad, but your body feels safe in the known. Deprogramming requires that you understand this clearly. The discomfort you feel when you try to change is not a sign that you are on the wrong path. It is the sign that the body is detoxifying. It is the healing fever. The old self is fighting for its life. To erase the code, you must have the will to cross that biological river of change without yielding to the demands of your body. You must be the captain who ignores the crew's mutiny because he knows they are heading toward the promised land. The observer as a universal eraser. How do we erase a neural network? Neuroscience says, neurons that fire together, wire together. Those that do not fire together pull apart. This is the power of neuroplasticity. Every time you remember a painful event from the past and add emotion to it, you are reinforcing the wiring. You are fattening the program. But quantum physics gives us a superior tool, the observer effect. In the quantum world, a particle exists because it is observed. If you withdraw observation, it dissolves back into the wave. The same happens with your traumas and beliefs. They only exist because you keep observing them, remembering and feeling them every day. You give them life with your attention. To deprogram, we use the technique of neutral observation. Normally, when a painful memory or negative emotion arises, we do two things. We fight or we hide. We identify with it, I am sad, or we resist it, I don't want to be sad. Both reactions give energy to the program. Quantum deprogramming proposes a third way, looking without touching. Sit with the emotion. Feel the anxiety in your stomach. Feel the fire of anger. But do not give it a name. Do not give it a story. Stop the narrative. Do not say, I am like this because my ex left me. Simply observe the pure sensation. Look at it as if you were a scientist studying a strange phenomenon in a laboratory. Interesting. There is a pressure in the chest. There is heat in the face. By becoming the impartial witness, you withdraw your energy of identification. You stop feeding the monster. And according to the law of entropy, a closed system without energy input eventually dissolves. If you can observe a strong emotion for 90 seconds without adding thoughts to it, the chemistry dissipates. The wave breaks and retreats. You are erasing the code by depriving it of fuel. You are free now. The Akashic field and epigenetics, cleaning the lineage. Sometimes the program limiting you isn't even yours. The science of epigenetics has shown that traumas can be inherited. In experiments with mice, if you scare a mouse with the smell of cherry, its grandchildren will be born fearing that smell even if they were never scared. The trauma information travels in the genetic material. You carry in your blood the fear of war from your grandparents, the scarcity from your great-grandparents, the betrayals of your ancestors. Many of your irrational fears do not come from your biography, but from your ancestral biology. You are running survival software. You are running software of a lineage that lived through hard times, but you are the turning point. You have the consciousness to say, this program was useful for my grandfather to survive the war, but it is useless for me to prosper in peace. Thank you, but I erase it. Quantum deprogramming works in non-linear time. It is deep. When you heal a pattern in yourself, for example, the belief that love hurts, you do not only free yourself. Due to quantum entanglement, you send a signal of liberation backward in time to your ancestors. The war is over, and forward to your children. You are free. You are the genetic engineer of your entire clan. In the deep meditative state, 0-point field, you can visualize your DNA and command it to rewrite itself. It is not fantasy. It has been shown that elevated states of consciousness lengthen telomeres, youth markers, and regulate the expression of immunity genes. Your mind rules over your matter. Your consciousness is the editor, the uncreating technique. Most people try to fix their problems, but in metaphysics we do not fix problems. We uncreate them. A problem is a dense energetic structure. If you try to fix it, you are confirming it is real and solid. You are fighting against reality. Deprogramming is withdrawing the solidity of the problem. It is returning the particle, the problem, to the wave state possibility. Visualization exercise. Imagine your limiting belief, e.g., I will never have money, as a solid, dark rock in front of you. Now, instead of trying to break it, start to withdraw your belief in its solidity. Remember, it is 99.99% empty space. It is light. Remember, it is only energy frozen by your own past observation. Imagine that you start to recover the energy you put into that rock. Visualize how the rock begins to become transparent. It becomes smoke. It becomes light. And finally, it disappears. It returns to nothingness. Feel the relief in your body. The space is now clean. The space that the problem occupied is now empty and clean. You have not solved the problem. You have dissolved the structure that sustained it. You have erased the file. Forgiveness as erasure technology. Forgiveness has been hijacked by religion and morals. They tell us forgiving is for good people. It is for the brave. Metaphysically, forgiveness has nothing to do with morality. It is an energy liberation technology. Grudge, hatred, and resentment are high-voltage cables connecting you to the past. As long as you hate someone, you are quantumly tied to that person. You are feeding their reality with your energy. You are giving away your power. And worst of all, you are keeping the victim me program active. To deprogram your mind, forgiveness is mandatory, not optional. Forgiving means, I cut the cable. I withdraw my energy from that past event and bring it back to the present. You do not forgive because the other deserves it. You forgive because you deserve to be free. Forgiving is formatting the hard drive of corrupt pain files. As long as you keep replaying the story of what they did to you, you are rewriting the trauma code every single day. Radical forgiveness is saying, I give up the hope for a better past. You accept what happened, remove the emotional charge, and keep only the wisdom. The memory stops hurting. It becomes a neutral piece of data. That is when you know the code has been erased, when you can look back and not feel the sting. The fertile void, installing the new system. Once you have erased the old code, you remain in a strange state. Many students panic here. They feel an existential void. They are no longer the sad person they were, but they are not yet the successful person they want to be. They are in no man's land. They feel weird, flat, disconnected. The ego screams, go back to the old. At least we knew who we were. This is the critical moment. If you feel this void, celebrate. It means the work is done. It means the deprogramming has worked. You have erased your old identity. You are at the neutral point. You are a blank slate. Do not run to fill the void with distractions. Stay in the void. That clean space is where you can install the new paradigm. Now, and only now, is when affirmations and visualizations actually work. Because there is no resistance, there is no background program contradicting the new order. Now you can say, I am abundant, and the seed falls on clean ground. Now you can install the Divinity 2.0 operating system, the coherence of internal language. To keep the system clean, you must install an antivirus, language vigilance. Your internal dialogue is the code being written in real time. Every time you say, I can't, it's hard, I'm dying of, you are writing lines of limiting code. Deprogramming requires a fierce linguistic discipline. You must become the guardian of your mouth and your mind. Eliminate low-vibration words, be a watchman. Change I have a problem to I have a challenge. Change if it happens or to when it happens. Change I hope I can to I intend to. Change I have no money to I am in the process of generating flow. It is not just semantics, it is alchemy. Words are frequency containers. If you use victim words, you reactivate the program. If you use creator words, you activate the creator program. The dark night of the soul, the system reboot. Sometimes deprogramming is not smooth. Sometimes it is a total collapse. You lose your job, your partner leaves you, your friends move away. All at once. It seems your life is being destroyed, and you scream, what is this? But I am doing the spiritual work. Why is this happening to me? The answer is because it is working. You asked for a new life. For the new to enter, the old structure has to fall. The tower of your false identity, built on foundations of fear, must crumble. Mystics call this the dark night of the soul. It is the reboot. It is the forced restart of the system. The universe is demolishing everything you are not, so that only what you are remains. If you are going through this, do not be afraid. You are not being punished. You are being purified. It is the fire that burns the old forest so new shoots can be born. Stay firm in the eye of the hurricane. Do not try to rebuild the old tower. Let it fall. Trust that what is coming is infinitely superior to what is going. You are shedding your skin. The ritual of symbolic death. To accelerate deprogramming, the subconscious loves rituals. The language of the subconscious is symbolic. Perform a psychomagic act to tell your mind, it is over. Write on a piece of paper all your old beliefs, your grudges, your victim identity. Write it all with detail and fury. Pour the poison onto the paper. Go to a safe place and burn the paper. Watch how the fire consumes the paper and it turns into ash and smoke. Understand that energy is not destroyed, it is transformed. It is gone. The paper, heavy matter, has become smoke-light air. You have transmuted your past. Throw the ashes into water or bury them. Take a conscious shower, visualizing that you are washing the residues from your aura. Dress in clean clothes. You are new. This simple act has a profound impact on the psyche. It marks a before and after. It breaks the linearity of time. It tells your cells that the old contract has been cancelled. The freedom of the no-self. The ultimate goal of quantum deprogramming is not just to improve yourself. It is not about fixing the ego, so it is a better and more successful ego. The goal is to transcend the need for a rigid identity. It is to become fluid. It is to be no one in particular, so you can be anything the moment requires. When you have no fixed programs, you are pure intuitive response. You are like water. You adapt to the container of the present moment. You no longer react from the past, you act from the intelligence of the now. That is freedom. That is true freedom. Not having to defend an image, not having to prove anything, simply being. You are the source. You are the observer. You are the creator of your own reality. The code has been cleared. The screen is blank. Now, what story will you choose to write? The universe is waiting for your next command. Chapter 8. The Heart as a Brain, Magnetic Coherence. For centuries, humanity has worshipped the intellect. We have built temples to reason, schools for logic, and societies based on analytical thought. We have blindly believed that the cranial brain, that grey mass inside your head, is the undisputed king, the CEO of your life, the only place where consciousness resides. We were wrong. The brain is not the king, it is the official. It is a fantastic data processor, yes, but it is not the source of authority. The true throne of consciousness, the command center from which the laws of your reality are dictated, has been beating in your chest since before you even had a brain. We are talking about the heart. But I am not referring to the heart of Valentine's cards. I am not talking about the heart as a poetic metaphor for disordered and romantic emotions. I am talking about the heart as an organ of higher intelligence. Modern neurocardiology has made a discovery that has shaken the foundations of biology. The heart has its own brain, literally. Inside your heart, there exists a complex intrinsic nervous system, a network of approximately 40,000 sensory neurons that think, decide, feel, remember, and process information independently of the head. Your heart is not a simple mechanical pump that moves blood. It is much more. It is a biological oscillator, a magnetic amplifier, and an antenna for connection with the unified field. To go beyond the mind, you must undertake the longest and most difficult journey that exists, the 12-inch descent from the head to the chest. You must abdicate the throne of logic and crown the true emperor. In this chapter, we are going to learn to think with the heart. We are going to discover heart coherence, the exact physical state in which the human being ceases to be a surviving animal and becomes a creator god. The physics of authority, electricity versus magnetism. To understand why the heart rules reality, let's go back to basic physics. Everything in the universe is electromagnetic. The electrical component is the information, the intention, the thought. It is directional. It is the arrow. The magnetic component is the attraction, the charge, the emotion. It is the field that envelops. It is the magnet. Your cranial brain is electrical, it produces thoughts. Your cardiac brain is magnetic, it produces fields. According to measurements by the HeartMath Institute, the electrical signal of the heart is 60 times stronger than that of the brain. But the impressive part is this: the magnetic field of the heart is 5,000 times more powerful than that of the brain. Read it again. 5,000 times. The magnetic field of your heart can be measured with magnetometers several meters outside your body. You are walking inside a bubble of energy, an invisible toroid, donut shape, that expands and contracts according to how you feel. What does this mean for manifestation? It means you can think of wealth all day. You can think with your brain, weak electrical signal, but if your heart feels fear of poverty, massive magnetic signal, the heart always wins. 5,000 beats, 1. The magnetic signal cancels the electrical signal. This is the scientific reason why mental visualization alone fails. It is like trying to move a boat by blowing with your mouth. You ignore that the ocean currents, heart emotion, are going in the opposite direction. To move reality, you need the magnetic engine. The heart is the bridge that connects the world of particles, matter, with the world of waves, energy. It is the translator. The universe does not understand your thoughts in Spanish or English. The universe understands your magnetic signature, and that signature is written by your heart with every beat. The state of coherence, the human laser. Most people live in a state of incoherence. You are in a traffic jam. Your mind is worried about being late. Your heart feels frustration. Your gut feels stress. If we looked at your heart rate on a monitor, we would see an erratic graph with sharp and disordered peaks, like a drawing of an earthquake. This chaotic signal is sent to the brain. The brain receives the message, chaos, disorder, danger. In response, the brain partially shuts down. A cortical inhibition occurs. The frontal lobe, the intelligent and creative part, disconnects to save energy. You become stupider, more reactive, more animalistic. You cannot think clearly. You cannot access intuition. Your magnetic field becomes static noise. You attract nothing good because your signal is an illegible scribble. Now imagine the opposite state, coherence. You decide to focus on your breathing. You activate a feeling of appreciation or gratitude. Suddenly, the graph of your heart rate changes. It stops being an earthquake and becomes a perfect sine wave, smooth, rhythmical, ordered. This is heart coherence. The heart sends this signal of order to the brain. The brain says, safety, order, harmony. Cortical facilitation occurs. The frontal lobe turns on to the maximum. Your intelligence skyrockets. Your immune system reactivates. Salivary IgA increases by 50%. Your stress hormones, cortisol, drop, and youth hormones, DHEA, rise. But most importantly, your magnetic field aligns. You go from being a scattered light bulb to being a laser. Your energy waves synchronize. The amplitude increases. In a state of coherence, your transmission to the quantum field is clear, powerful, and penetrating. It is in this state and only in this state where manifestation occurs effortlessly. The little brain of the heart, an organ that remembers. It is fascinating to know that the heart has memory. Hundreds of cases of heart transplant recipients have been documented who, after the operation, begin to have the donor's tastes, memories, and cravings. A vegetarian woman receives the heart of a young man who loved burgers. Suddenly she begins to crave meat and listen to heavy metal. Where was that information stored? Not in the donor's brain, which died, but in the neural network of the heart. The heart stores your deep identity. It stores your emotional traumas and your greatest loves. That is why the deprogramming of Chapter 7 must be completed here. You can logically understand that you should forgive someone, but if your heart continues to store the vibratory pattern of betrayal, you are not free. The brain thinks forgiveness. The heart is forgiveness. To free the heart from its painful memories, analysis is useless. You have to refeel and transmute. You have to enter the heart space and use the energy of coherence, love, compassion to dissolve the energetic knots stored in the cardiac tissue. When you heal your heart, you don't just feel better emotionally, you literally change the signal you are emitting to the universe 24 hours a day. The heart wall, the ego's fortress. If the heart is so powerful, why is it so hard for us to access it? Because it hurts. The heart is the place where we have been hurt the most. Rejections, losses, abandonments. To survive, The guardian, ego, built a fortress around your heart. Dr. Bradley Nelson calls it the heart wall. It is an energetic barrier made of layers of trapped emotions, designed so that nothing goes in and nothing goes out. The wall protects you from pain, yes, but it also isolates you from life. The wall blocks the entry of love and blocks the exit of your magnetic power. Living with a closed heart is living like a functional zombie. You walk, eat, work, but you are not alive. There is no resonance, there is no magic. Your manifestation signal bounces off your own wall and stays inside. You are a power plant disconnected from the grid. To go beyond the mind, you must have the courage of a warrior to tear down the wall. You must be willing to be vulnerable. The word vulnerable comes from the Latin vulnus, which means wound. It means capable of being wounded. The ego says, if I lower the wall, they will destroy me. The spirit says, if you lower the wall, you will discover that you are indestructible. Because an open heart is not weak, it is the most powerful force in the universe. An open heart allows the energy of the infinite to flow through you without resistance. When nothing protects you, nothing limits you. The inner alchemy, uniting the chakras. In the mystical and yogic tradition, the heart is the midpoint, the pointer of the scales. You have 3 lower energy centers: root, sacral, solar plexus. These deal with survival, sex, power, and the body. They are the earth centers. You have 3 higher energy centers: throat, third eye, crown. These deal with communication, intuition, and divinity. They are the heaven centers. The heart, 4th center, is the bridge. It is the alchemical crucible where earth meets heaven, where instinct meets inspiration, where the human meets the divine. If you try to manifest only from the lower centers, selfish desire, lust, need for control, your manifestation will be dense and karmic. If you try to manifest only from the higher centers, volatile ideas, disconnected spirituality, your manifestation will never land. You will be a dreamer who realizes nothing. The secret is to raise the energy from below and bring the energy down from above and mix them in the heart. This is feeling the thought. It is taking the idea, heaven, and giving it the density of emotion, earth. When you manage to merge your clear thought, intention, with emotion, when it merges with elevated emotion, love, gratitude in the center of the heart, the alchemical wedding occurs. A new energy is born, an energy that has direction and power. That is the energy that collapses the wave function. Emotion as fuel. Which is the right one? We have talked about elevated emotions, but let's be specific. What must the heart feel to activate the miracle machine? It is not hysterical happiness. It is not manic euphoria. The signature of coherence is stability and openness. The key emotions are appreciation, the soft version of love, appreciating beauty and the moment; care, the feeling of tenderness; compassion, understanding suffering; and gratitude, the queen of emotions. Let's talk about gratitude. Biologically, you cannot feel gratitude and fear at the same time. They are incompatible. Metaphysically, gratitude is the signal of it has already happened. We normally give thanks after receiving the gift. Therefore, when you generate gratitude in your heart now, when you generate it before seeing the result, you are hacking reality. You are telling the field, the event already happened. You are sending the transaction completed signal, and the universe, which always seeks coherence, has no choice but to precipitate the physical event to match your thank you signal. Gratitude is the supreme state of receptivity. A grateful heart is a heart without resistance. It is a heart that says yes to life. And to those who say yes to life, life says yes to their desires. The practice: quick coherence technique. You don't need to go to a cave in Tibet to activate your heart. You can do it in the middle of a work meeting, on the bus, or before a difficult conversation. It is a physiological technology. Use it. Step 1. Heart focus. Bring all your attention to the center of your chest. Where you put attention, you put energy. By focusing there, you begin to withdraw energy from the noisy mind. You carry it to the magnetic motor. It helps to put your hand over your chest. Step 2. Heart breathing. Imagine that your breath does not enter through your nose, but enters and leaves directly through your heart. Make the breath slower and deeper than normal. Inhale for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds. This calms the nervous system and tells the brain that you are safe. It stops cortisol production. Step 3. Heart feeling. While breathing through your chest, deliberately activate a memory or a fantasy that produces a positive emotion. Your child's face, your pet, a perfect sunset, the feeling of achievement. Do not think it. Feel it. Let that sensation of warmth, of an internal smile expand through your chest. Bathe in that emotion. Do this for 3 minutes. In those 3 minutes, you have changed your biochemistry. Over 1,300 restorative chemical reactions. You have changed your neurology, cortical facilitation, and you have changed your physics. Your magnetic field has become ordered. Now, from this state, ask your question. From this state, make the decision. From this state, visualize your future. Anything you sow in the fertile field of heart coherence will grow with unstoppable force. The global heart, the invisible network. There is a last secret about the heart. It connects with the theme, beyond the individual mind. The heart is not local. Your magnetic field interacts with the field of the people around you. If you enter a room being in coherence, your field can, literally, entrain the hearts of others toward coherence without saying a word. You are a tuning fork of peace. You calm others with your presence, but it goes further. Scientists are discovering that the human heart's magnetic field interacts with the Earth's magnetic field. When millions of people feel fear at once, the Earth's field is altered. When millions feel love and coherence, the Earth's field stabilizes. Your personal work of opening the heart is not just for your selfish benefit. It is a service to the biosphere. You are feeding the global network of consciousness. You are injecting order into the world's chaos. Living with an open heart. The final challenge is to keep the heart open when the world gives you reasons to close it. Someone insults you. The instinct ego is to close the wall and counterattack. The master does something counterintuitive. In the moment of attack, they open up more. Breathe and expand the chest. Let the attack pass through you as if it were air, meeting no resistance. If you close up, you become a solid target and the attack hits you. If you open up, you become empty space and the attack dissolves. Living with an open heart is the ultimate protection. It is living without fear, because you know your internal generator is stronger than any external circumstance. When you live from the heart, the logical mind becomes what it was always meant to be, a humble servant. The mind plans the details, but the heart set the course. The mind analyzes the map, but the heart knows the destination. Chapter 9. The Paradox of Surrender. Gaining control by letting go of control. Your logical mind screams, "You are crazy. If I let go, I lose it. If I stop thinking about it, it won't happen. I have to stay in control. I have to watch it. I have to push it." This is where 99% of metaphysics students fail. They get stuck in the intention phase and never move to the surrender phase. They live in a state of spiritual tension, trying to manifest their dreams through energetic strangulation. But universal law is an inescapable paradox. You cannot receive what you are not willing to let go of. As long as you keep your desire gripped by the neck with desperation, the universe cannot deliver it to you. There is no room for it to enter. In this chapter, we are going to resolve the paradox of surrender. We are going to discover that surrendering is not losing. It is the only way to win. We will learn that control is the illusion of the weak, and that trust is the power of the masters. We must let go. The law of reversed effort. The philosopher Alan Watts and the writer Aldous Huxley spoke of the law of reversed effort. This law establishes that, in the realm of the mind and spirit, the harder you try something with conscious will, the further you move away from the result. It is like quicksand. The more you struggle, the more you sink. It is like insomnia. The more you strive to sleep, "I have to fall asleep now," the more awake you are. It is like trying to remember a name. The more you strive to search for it, the more it hides. And at the moment you surrender and say, "It will come to me," the name magically appears on your tongue. Why does this happen? Because effort is a vibratory signal of resistance. Effort implies friction. It implies that you are fighting against an opposing force. When you strive to manifest money, you are vibratory screaming. It is hard. It is not here. I have to fight against reality. You are affirming the absence of the object. Surrender, on the contrary, is the absence of friction. It is the state of flow. When you surrender, you tell the universe, I have already done my part. Now I trust you to do yours. I do not need to fight because I know it is already done. Surrender eliminates resistance, and when resistance is zero, conductivity is infinite. Energy flows without obstacles, and the desire materializes at the speed of light. The metaphor of the archer, tension and release. Imagine you are an Olympic archer. The manifestation process has two clear phases, and you cannot mix them. Phase 1, tension, intention and focus. You take the bow. You set the arrow. You look at the target with absolute concentration. You use your strength to pull the string back. Here you use your mind, your visualization, your emotion. You accumulate potential energy. This is what we have learned in the previous chapters. It is the active, masculine, electrical part. Phase 2, release, surrender, and detachment. For the arrow to fly and hit the target, what must you obligatorily do? You have to let go of the string, you have to remove your fingers, you have to give up control over the arrow. If you stay gripping the string out of fear, what if it fails? What if it doesn't fly well when the shot will be a disaster? The arrow will fall at your feet. The power of the shot resides entirely in the cleanliness of the release. The more loose your hand is, the straighter the projectile will fly. Most people live with the bow eternally tensed. They visualize and visualize, desire and desire, but they never release the string. They are exhausted, their arms tremble, and the arrow goes nowhere. Surrender is that magical instant in which you open your hand. It is the moment when you say, "It is done. I hand it over to you, universe." At that moment, potential energy becomes kinetic energy. The desire leaves your mental field. It enters the quantum field to materialize. If you do not let go, you do not send the order. You keep it for yourself. Cosmic micromanagement, firing the ego. The ego is a terrible manager of the universe, but it insists on doing the job. The ego is obsessed with the how and the when. You have asked for an ideal partner. Your ego immediately begins to micromanage. It has to be at this party. It has to be a blonde. It has to be today. It has to be through this dating app. By defining the how and when, you are limiting the infinite possibilities of the quantum field. You limit it to the 3 or 4 mediocre options that your limited mind can conceive. You are strangling the universe. Perhaps the universe had planned to introduce you to your partner in the supermarket line tomorrow, but because you are obsessed with forcing it to be at today's party, you don't go. You miss the date. Surrendering means giving up the logistics. You are the architect, you design the what. The universe is the engineer and the site manager. It executes the how. If the architect goes down to the construction site and starts telling the masons how to lay every brick, he hinders the work. You must have the humility to admit that your logical mind does not have the capacity to compute the trillions of variables necessary to orchestrate a miracle. The quantum field can. The field can coordinate traffic, phone calls, chance encounters, and sudden ideas so that your desire reaches you. The desire reaches you in the easiest and most harmonious way. But for that to happen, you have to get out of the way. You have to say, "Universe, this is what I want. Surprise me with the delivery method." And then, mind your own business. The cosmic restaurant. Let's use a mundane analogy. You go to a luxury restaurant. You look at the menu. You decide what you want, intention. You call the waiter and place the order clearly. "I want the risotto, please." Request, vibration. The waiter takes a note and goes to the kitchen. What do you do now? Do you get up distressed and go to the kitchen to see if they are cooking? Do you ask the waiter every 30 seconds if he is sure he noted it down correctly? Do you doubt if the chef knows how to cook rice? No. You relax. You drink your wine. You chat with your companion. You enjoy the atmosphere. You assume that the order is already underway. You assume it. You assume that although you do not see the risotto or smell it yet, it is being cooked for you in the invisible realm, the kitchen. You have the certainty that, at the right moment, the dish will appear on your table. That attitude of relaxed and confident waiting is surrender. Now look at how people act with their life desires. They ask for the risotto of wealth, and the next second they are distressed. Where is it? I don't see it. I'm sure it's not coming. I'm going to have to go and cook it myself. The universe forgot about me. That anxiety is a cancellation order. When you doubt and go to the kitchen to bother them, the chef stops. You delay the order. Surrender is the absolute trust in the competence of the cosmic kitchen. It is knowing that once the order has been issued with clarity and emotion, the heavy lifting is no longer yours. Your job now is to stay seated at the table, with your fork in hand, receptivity, vibrating in enjoyment. Detachment, having everything without clinging to anything. Here we reach the most subtle and spiritual point. To manifest something, you must desire it, but you must not need it. This is the paradox of detachment. Attachment comes from the fear of loss. Attachment says, if I don't get this, I will be unhappy. If I don't get this, I will die. That life or death vibration is so heavy, so dense, that it repels the miracle. Attachment creates a force field of repulsion. Detachment says, I love this desire. I choose to have it. I go toward it with joy. But if for some reason it doesn't arrive today, I am still fine. My happiness does not depend on it. My peace is non-negotiable. When you reach that point of preference without need, you become irresistible. The universe loves those who are free. If you are desperate for a partner, you smell of desperation, people flee. If you are happy with yourself and open to a partner but do not need one to breathe, you are magnetic. People approach. Surrendering is letting go of the emotional claw with which you suffocate your dream. It is telling your desire, I love you, but I set you free. You do not own me. When you free your desire from the burden of having to make you happy, the desire flows toward you smoothly. The water and the rock, Wu Wei. In Taoism, this is called Wu Wei, action without action or effortless action. The supreme metaphor is water. Water is the softest substance in the world, but it overcomes the rock, which is the hardest. How does it do it? Not by fighting, not by striking with rigidity. Water flows. If it encounters an obstacle, it does not argue with it. It goes around it. It adapts to the shape of the terrain. It surrenders to gravity. And yet, in its total surrender, water always reaches its destination, the sea. Nothing can stop it. The ego wants to be rock, hard, rigid, direct, strong. The spirit wants to be water, soft, adaptable, fluid, relentless. Surrendering is becoming liquid. It is stopping having rigid plans. I am going to do this, but if the universe closes this door for me, I will not strike it. I will flow through the window. I will be like water. When you live like this, stress disappears. You can no longer fail because you do not have a rigid plan to break. You only have a direction, and you flow toward it through the path of least resistance. Faith, the invisible safety net. Let's not kid ourselves. Surrendering is scary. The ego feels it is falling into the void without a parachute. To surrender, you need a secret ingredient, faith. Not blind religious faith. I'm talking about systemic trust. Trust that the universe is a benevolent place. Trust that there is an intelligence that sustains the galaxies and that also sustains you. If you believe the universe is a hostile, chaotic, and cruel place, you will never be able to surrender. You will have to be always on guard, armed and defending yourself. But if you reach the deep understanding, through meditation and experience, that you are being loved and guided, then letting go is easy. It is like the trust game, where you let yourself fall backward knowing your friend will catch you. Surrendering is falling into the arms of divine intelligence. It is saying, God, universe, I don't know how to fix this. I am tired of fighting. I yield the wheel to you. You take me. At the exact moment you make that honest declaration of surrender, the miracle usually happens, because you have removed the little me, the obstacle, from the equation, and you have let the big me in. What do you do while you wait? Inspired action. Surrendering does not mean sitting on the couch eating potato chips, waiting for $1 million to fall from the ceiling. That is laziness, not surrender. Spiritual surrender is accompanied by inspired action. When you have let go of anxiety and control, you enter a state of clarity. Your intuition turns on, and you receive instructions to act. Call this person. Write this book. Go to this place. These actions do not feel like hard work. There is no friction. They feel like play. They feel light. You are excited to do them. You act not to force the result, but because the action itself is joyful. You act like a dance, not like a battle. When you are in surrender, you are hyper-productive, but you are not stressed. You do a lot, but you feel like you are doing nothing. The doer has disappeared, only the doing remains. The fertile void. Again. When you surrender, you create a void. You let go of control. You let go of worry. You let go of obsessive planning. Suddenly, there is space in your mind, there is silence. As we saw in chapter 3, the void is the place where God creates. By surrendering, you get out of the way. You stop obstructing the channel with your fears and doubts. You become a hollow channel, a flute through which the universe can blow its music. The more you empty yourself of your personal will, my will be done. The more you fill yourself with the universal will, thy will be done. And the universal will is always, invariably, of greater expansion, abundance, and love than any small plan your ego could have drawn up. Your plans are small because you believe yourself to be small. The universe's plans for you are giant. Surrendering is accepting the giant plan. Practice. The art of letting go of the bone. Your mind is like a dog biting a bone. The problem. It does not let go, it chews it, it drools on it, it growls. The practice of surrender is learning to let go of the bone. When you catch yourself obsessed with a problem, turning it over, feeling the tension in your jaw, do the following exercise. 1. Recognize the tension. I am trying to control this. I am afraid. 2. Squeeze to the maximum. Close your fists. Tense all the muscles in your body, squeeze your eyes. Feel the tension of control at its maximum for 5 seconds. Exaggerate it. 3. Release. Suddenly, exhale sharply through your mouth and open your hands. Relax your shoulders, let your body drop. 4. The declaration. Say out loud, I let go of this. It is not my problem. Universe, I pass it to you. You handle it. 5. Sacred distraction. Immediately do something you like. Put on music, go for a walk, cook. Do not return to the problem. You have delegated the task. Trust the delegate. Every time the worry returns, repeat the process. No, I no longer have the bone. I gave it to the universe. Over time, you will train your mind to rest in uncertainty, the peace that passes all understanding. The final result of surrender is not just getting what you wanted, which will happen. The true prize is peace, a peace that has no logic. Everything around you may be burning, but you are in the eye of the hurricane, calm, connected, confident. That peace is the proof that you have gone beyond the mind. The mind can never be at peace if there are problems. The spirit is always at peace because it knows that problems are transitory illusions. By surrendering, you stop being the general manager of the universe, an exhausting job for which you are not qualified, and you become the son, daughter of the universe. You become like a child again. Children do not worry about paying the mortgage. They trust that their parents take care of it. You have a cosmic father, mother. Let them do their job. You just play, create, love, live. Chapter 10. Synchronicity, when the universe winks at you. Your logical mind, the guardian, gets nervous. It tries to explain it away quickly. It's a coincidence, it's chance, it's probability. It means nothing. Don't get your hopes up. The logical mind hates these events because they threaten its model of reality. Logic lives in a world of linear, separate, and mechanical causes and effects. But you who have gone beyond the mind know the truth. There are no coincidences, there are no accidents. What you are experiencing is synchronicity. It is the universe winking at you. It is the physical confirmation that you have entered the flow. It is the proof that the barrier between your inner world, mind, and the outer world, matter, has dissolved. In this chapter, we are going to learn to read the secret language of God. We are going to discover that reality is not a cold and dead mechanism, but a living, intelligent, and constant conversation with you. The principle of a causal connection. The term synchronicity was coined by the psychologist Carl Jung to describe the temporal coincidence of two or more events not causally related, but which have the same meaningful content. Let's analyze this. In classical physics, Newton, for A to affect B, they have to touch or push each other. That is causality. In synchronicity, A, your thought, and B, the external event, do not physically touch. There is no invisible cable pulling the phone to make it ring. However, they occur at the same time and mean the same thing. Jung concluded, working with quantum physicist Wolfgang Pauli, that mind and matter are not two separate things. They are two aspects of the same underlying reality, which they called the unus mundus, one single world. Imagine an iceberg. We see two separate peaks of ice sticking out of the water. They look like two distinct objects, but if you look under the water, you see they are joined in a single giant mass of ice. Your thoughts, peak 1, and the events of the world, peak 2, seem separate on the surface of 3D reality. But in the depth of the quantum field, under the water, they are the same thing. When you move peak 1, change your thought, peak 2, the event, moves automatically, not because one pushes the other, but because they are the same. Synchronicity is the moment when the water level drops a bit, and you can see the connection. It is the moment you see the matrix. When you experience a synchronicity, it is not just luck. It is a glitch in the illusion of separation. It is a glimpse into the fundamental unity of all things. The navigation system of the flow. What are synchronicities for? Are they just magic tricks to entertain us? No. They are navigation markers. They are the traffic signs of the universe. When you are driving down an unknown road at night, you need to see the reflectors to know you haven't gone off path. Synchronicities are those reflectors. They appear to tell you you are aligned, you are doing well, keep going. When you are in a state of incoherence, fear, ego, effort, synchronicities disappear. Life becomes mechanical, predictable, and heavy. Everything is hard cause and effect. You have to push to get results. When you enter the flow, surrender, intuition, open heart, synchronicities multiply. Streaks of good luck begin to happen. You meet the key person in the elevator. The book you needed falls off the shelf. The universe is giving you instant feedback. It is telling you, your frequency is compatible with your destiny. The channel is open. If you stop seeing synchronicities for a long time, it is an alarm signal. It means you have fallen back into the trap of the logical mind and effort. It means you have disconnected from the cloud. To return, do not look for signs outside. Return to the silence within. Realign your frequency, and the signs will appear again. The Golden Scarab, the dialogue with the divine. Jung's most famous story perfectly illustrates how the universe listens to our private conversations. Jung was treating a patient who was extremely rational, Cartesian, and logical. Her mind was a closed fortress. Nothing irrational could enter. The treatment was not progressing. One day, the patient was telling him about a dream in which she was given a golden scarab, an Egyptian symbol of rebirth. Just at that moment, a soft tapping was heard at the office window. Jung opened the window and caught an insect that had just hit the glass. It was a Cetonia aurata beetle, a golden-green beetle, the closest thing to a golden scarab to be found in those latitudes. Jung handed the insect to the woman and said, "Here is your scarab." That impossible event shattered the patient's logical mind. The statistical improbability of that specific insect hitting that specific window at the exact second she narrated the dream was a hammer blow to her rationality. Her ego collapsed. She opened up to the mystery, and her healing began. This teaches us something vital. Synchronicity is therapeutic. It occurs to wake us up. It occurs to break our intellectual arrogance. The universe organizes these cosmic theaters to tell you, hey, little human, there are forces much greater than you at play. Relax and trust. Every coincidence is a small miracle designed to increase your faith. And the more you are surprised and grateful, the more they occur. The universe is like a playful child. If you applaud its magic tricks, it will do more for you. If you ignore them or analyze them with cynical coldness, it will stop playing with you. The capacity for wonder is a requirement for quantum life. Numbers, feathers, and songs, the algorithms of the matrix. Synchronicities come in many forms. The most common today are repeating numbers, 11, 11, 22, 22, 333, etc. Many call them angel numbers. From a beyond-the-mind perspective, we can see it as fractal mathematics. The universe is written in mathematics, Galileo. When you see repeating numerical patterns, you are seeing the source code of reality aligning. It is like when you are programming and you see that the code is clean and orderly. Seeing 1111 is a sign of system coherence. It indicates that your thoughts and external reality are in phase. It is an open door moment. In that minute, the veil is thin. It is an excellent moment to launch an intention or simply to stop and say, thank you. Other forms of synchronicity. One, semantic synchronicity. You hear a strange word in the morning and then hear it 5 more times during the day in different contexts. 2, telepathic synchronicity. You think of someone and they call you. 3, object. Synchronicity. You find feathers, coins, or specific symbols repeatedly in unusual places. 4, solution. Synchronicity. You have a technical problem. You give up. You go for a walk. And you run into a stranger who happens to be an expert in that exact problem and gives you the solution in a casual chat. Do not obsess over searching for the exact meaning of every number on Google. What does 444 mean? The most important meaning is always the same: connection. It means you are not alone, you are being heard, you are on the network. Feel the company. That is what matters. Apophenia or magic, the reticular filter. The skeptic will say that is apophenia or confirmation bias. Your reticular activating system, RAS, now looks for 1111. That's why you see it. It was always there, but before you didn't look at it. And in part, they are right. Your attention filters reality. But that does not invalidate the magic. It explains it. Recall Chapter 5. You attract and perceive what you are. If your RAS begins to see patterns of order and magic, it is because your consciousness has moved to a frequency of order and magic. The skeptic sees a chaotic and random world because their RAS is programmed for chaos and chance. The mystic sees a connected and meaningful world because their RAS is programmed for connection. Both live in different universes, created by their observation. The question is, in which universe do you prefer to live? The universe of chance is cold, lonely, and terrifying. The universe of synchronicity is warm, interactive, and fun. And pragmatically, the synchronic universe works better. People who believe in luck tend to have more luck. It is scientifically proven because they are more open to seeing opportunities when they pass by. Believing in magic is an evolutionary advantage. Negative synchronicity, the bad luck streak. There is a dark side to this. Synchronicity is neutral. It only amplifies your frequency. If you enter a spiral of fear, guilt, and victimhood, the universe will also respond to you with synchronicities, but negative ones. It is what we call a streak of bad luck or Murphy's Law. Your washing machine breaks. The next day your car tire goes flat. The next day you get a fine. Everything seems to conspire against you, and you are right. You are conspiring against yourself. Your powerful coherence in fear and frustration is organizing reality to confirm your belief that everything goes wrong. These bad coincidences are also synchronicities. They are navigation markers telling you are going in the wrong direction. Turn around. The universe is screaming at you that you are misaligned. Instead of getting angry and saying, how unlucky I am, stop. Recognize the pattern. Say, okay, universe, I get the message. My frequency is dirty. Thank you for showing it to me so clearly. And do the cleaning work. Silence, gratitude, state change. You will see how magically the streak stops dead. How to invoke synchronicity. The green car experiment. Can we trigger synchronicity? Yes. We can play with the matrix. There is a classic manifestation exercise called the green car experiment, or yellow butterflies, or rubber ducks. It consists of telling the universe, in the next 48 hours I want you to show me specific and unusual object as a sign that you hear me. Choose something you don't usually see. For example, a purple car or a person in a top hat. Close your eyes, visualize it for a second, feel it, and let it go. Surrender. Do not go out into the street looking for it anxiously. Where is it? Where is it? Simply keep your eyes open and live your life. I guarantee that if you do it with playful detachment, you will see it. And not once. You will see it 3 times. Or you will see a purple car parked in front of a shop selling purple paint. The universe usually has a sense of humor and likes to exaggerate when you challenge it with joy. This exercise serves to train your faith. When you see the purple car, your logical mind receives a blow. Your confidence in your power as a creator increases, and that increased confidence is what you will later use to manifest big things: money, health. Start playing with the small so your ego accepts the possibility of the large. Indra's net. We are all in the same dream. Synchronicity leads us to a profound metaphysical conclusion. If I think of something and you call me, it means my mind and your mind are connected beneath the surface. It means that individuality is a partial illusion. In Hinduism, there is the metaphor of Indra's net. Imagine an infinite spiderweb net that extends across the entire universe. At each intersection of threads, there is a brilliant pearl. Each pearl represents a human consciousness: you, me, your neighbor. The surface of each pearl is a perfect mirror that reflects all the other pearls in the net. In each pearl, all the other pearls are contained. If you touch one pearl, the whole net vibrates. Synchronicity is the vibration of Indra's net. It reminds us that we are not isolated entities competing in a hostile world. We are nodes of a collective consciousness. Your thoughts affect my reality. My emotions affect your field. This destroys selfishness. If you understand synchronicity, you understand that harming another is harming yourself, because the net will vibrate back toward you, and you understand that blessing another is blessing yourself. Synchronicity is the ethics of the New Age, based not on morals, but on evident connectivity. The flow state as a lifestyle. The ultimate goal is not to have a synchronicity once in a while. The goal is to live in permanent synchronicity. This is what athletes call the zone, or Taoists, the Tao. It is a state where friction completely disappears. You no longer make decisions. Decisions make you. You no longer search for opportunities. Opportunities find you at your doorstep. You live in the right place, at the right time, all the time. You reach the bus just as it opens its doors. You walk into the store just as they put out the sale. You say the exact word the other person needed to hear. You become a tuned instrument of the universal orchestra. To live here, you have to maintain impeccable vibratory hygiene. You have to prioritize your inner peace above any external ambition, because your peace is the signal that coordinates synchronicity. If you sacrifice your peace to get money, stress, you lose synchronicity. And then getting the money becomes hard, slow, and painful. If you maintain your peace and trust, the money arrives via synchronicity, easy, fast, and surprising. Hard work is the consolation prize for those who don't know how to use the flow. The dance with the invisible. I invite you to see your life from today as a dance with an invisible partner. You take a step, intention. The universe takes a step, synchronicity. You take another step, action. The universe takes another step, opportunity. It is a tango. Do not try to lead all the time. Sometimes let the universe spin you. Pay attention to the music. If the music stops, blockages, closed doors, do not keep dancing by force. Stop. Listen. Wait for the new rhythm. If the music speeds up, streaks of luck, let yourself go. Do not be afraid of the speed. Life stops being a problem to be solved and becomes a choreography to be enjoyed. Chapter 11. Galactic Identity. Remembering your origin before matter. We have learned to handle the mind, the heart, the time, and synchronicity. We have learned to play the game of human reality with mastery. But in the silence of the night, when you turn off the lights and the noise of the world ceases, a question remains floating in the air. A question that has haunted humanity ever since the first hominid looked up at the starry sky. It is a strange sensation, a kind of inexplicable nostalgia. You look at the stars and feel a tug in your chest. You feel that up there is something familiar. You feel in the depths of your being that this planet is beautiful, yes, but that somehow it is not your home, or at least it is not your only home. You feel like a traveler who has forgotten their starting point. You feel like a foreigner with amnesia in a strange land. Conventional psychology would call this alienation. Metaphysics calls it the remembrance of origin. In this chapter, we are going to break the last and greatest of all illusions. The illusion that you are a human being. You are not. You never have been. Human being is not an identity. It is an experience. It is a temporary suit. It is a biological condition. You are the consciousness that inhabits the suit, and that consciousness was not born on earth, is not made of mud, and will not die when the body fails. Your real identity is cosmic. It is galactic. It is prior to time and matter. We are going to remember who you were before the world told you who you should be. The biological suit, immersion technology. To understand your nature, let's use a technological metaphor. Imagine the most advanced virtual reality, VR, experience in the universe. A game so immersive that, to play it, you don't put on goggles, but you put on an entire body. You put on a carbon biosuit. This suit is a marvel of engineering. It has 5 senses, sight, hearing, touch, taste, smell, that decode frequencies and turn them into solid sensations. It has a logical processor, brain, to solve local problems. It has a fuel system, digestion. You, the infinite player, are in a higher dimension, what we call the soul or the higher self. You decide to enter the game Earth. You connect to the biosuit. You dive in. But for the game to be exciting, there is a fundamental rule. The veil of forgetfulness. You have to forget that you are an infinite player. You have to believe that you are the suit. If you remembered all the time that you are immortal and invulnerable, the game would have no grace. You wouldn't fear the tiger. You wouldn't feel the adrenaline of risk. You wouldn't value finite love. Amnesia is necessary for immersion. Most people, 7 billion players, are so lost in the immersion that they believe they are the avatar. They defend the avatar to the death. They believe that when the avatar turns off, physical death, they cease to exist. They live in terror. They live in terror because they have identified with the perishable. Spiritual awakening is simply the moment in the game when the avatar stops, looks at the camera and says, "Wait a moment, I am not this. I am the one who is looking through this." Going beyond the mind is reclaiming the player's perspective while you are still inside the game. It is remembering your galactic identity. Stardust, the scientific evidence. You don't need blind faith to accept your cosmic origin. You only need astrophysics. Your body is made of atoms: carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, iron, calcium. Where did those atoms come from? Physics teaches us that in the Big Bang, only the lightest elements were created. The heavy elements necessary for life, the carbon of your cells, the iron of your blood, the calcium of your bones, can only be created in one place, in the nuclear furnace of the core of a giant star. Every atom of your hand was cooked at millions of degrees inside a star that lived and died billions of years ago. That star had to explode. It had to explode, supernova, to scatter its entrains throughout the universe. That stardust traveled through the vacuum for eons, condensed into a cloud, formed the solar system, formed the Earth, and finally organized itself to form your body. Literally, not metaphorically, you are an alien. Your raw material is not from here. It is recycled material from the cosmos. You carry the history of the galaxy inscribed in your atomic code. When you look at the stars, you are not looking at something foreign. You are looking at your ancestors. You are looking at your mother. That resonance you feel when seeing the night sky is the resonance of your own atoms. They are vibrating in sympathy with their source. You are the universe having become conscious of itself, the non-locality of consciousness. If your body is stardust, what is your mind? Neuroscientists have spent decades looking for consciousness inside the brain. They look for the place where the I is generated. They do not find it, and they never will find it. Because the brain does not generate consciousness. The brain receives consciousness. The brain is an antenna, not a factory. The television signal is not generated inside the TV set. The signal is in the air, non-local. The TV only decodes it. If you break the TV, the signal is still there. Your galactic identity is that signal. It is a frequency of intelligence that exists outside of space-time. When your body dies, the antenna breaks, but the signal, you, keeps transmitting. Simply, it is no longer localized at that point in space. It returns to the field. This consciousness is not human. Consciousness has no species. The same light that shines in your eyes is the one that shines. It shines in the eyes of a cat, a dolphin, or a being from another planet. The difference is not the light, the observer, but the filter, the brain, species. When you access your galactic identity, you stop feeling separate from creation. You understand that you are the one life expressing itself in infinite forms. You cease to be John Doe, accountant. You become consciousness temporarily focused on the experience of John Doe. That small change of definition frees you from all fear. The purpose of incarnation. Why did you come? If you are an infinite, eternal, and perfect being at the galactic level, why on earth would you come to Earth? Why would you choose to come to a dense planet? Why a planet full of war, pain, disease, and taxes? Is it a punishment? Is it a school? Is it a prison? From the perspective of beyond the mind, the answer is bolder. You came for adventure and for service. The adventure of contrast. In the realm of the absolute, your home, everything is love, light, and instant unity. That is wonderful, but it is static. There is no contrast. You cannot know what light is if you do not know darkness. You cannot experience triumph if the possibility of failure does not exist. Earth is a high contrast zone. It is an extreme amusement park. You came here to experience limitation because only through limitation can you experience expansion. You came to feel the cold so you could enjoy the heat. Your soul is an adventurer. It wanted to feel. It wanted to touch. It wanted to cry. It wanted to laugh. Everything you judge as bad in your life, the pain, the struggle, from the perspective of your galactic identity, is simply intensity. It is a rich experience. The anchoring service. There is a more technical mission. Earth is a system that is evolving. It is passing from a low frequency, fear, separation, to a high frequency, love, unity. But Earth cannot do this alone. It needs transducers. It needs beings who can connect to galactic energy, high frequency, and ground it through a physical body. You are that transducer. You are a starseed. Your job is not just to work and pay bills. Your real job is to keep your frequency high in the midst of density. Every time you choose love instead of fear, every time you forgive instead of hating, you are downloading gigabytes of cosmic information to the terrestrial plane. You are interneting the planet. You are a biological antenna that is helping to awaken humanity simply by being here and vibrating high. Visitor syndrome and cosmic loneliness. Many of those who listen to this have felt their whole lives that they do not fit in. They look at human behavior, violence, greed, obsession. They look at cruelty, and they do not understand it. They feel, these are not my rules, these are not my people. They have suffered loneliness, even while being accompanied. They have been the black sheep of the family. If you feel this way, I have good news. You are not sick, you are remembering. That feeling of not belonging is proof. It is proof of your galactic identity. It is the sign that your original operating system is not terrestrial. You come from systems where telepathy is normal, where unity is the rule, where love is the air that is breathed. Colliding with the density of Earth hurts. It is like a deep-sea diver subjected to crushing pressure. But you didn't come here to complain about the density. You didn't come to stay in the corner crying because Earth is hard and I want to go home. You came here to transform the density. If you feel like a stranger, it is because you have come to bring something new. If you fit in perfectly, you couldn't change anything. Your difference is your gift. Your sensitivity is not weakness. It is the fineness of your receiving antenna. Accept your status as a visitor. A visitor does not get attached to local dramas. A visitor observes, helps, enjoys the journey, but knows that their passport is from somewhere else. This attitude of compassionate detachment is the key. Spherical time, past and parallel lives. Your galactic identity does not live in linear time. For your soul, all your incarnations are happening now. We usually talk about past lives. I was a warrior in Rome. I was a priestess in Egypt. But since time is an illusion, those lives are not past, they are parallel lives. They are different windows open on the desktop of your cosmic computer. You, the user, galactic identity, have the Rome window, the Egypt window, and the 21st century current Yuan window open. You are playing all the matches simultaneously. This means you have access to the wisdom and skills of all your other versions. If in another life you were a healer, that knowledge was not lost. It is in the cloud of your soul. You can download it now. This explains why sometimes you have innate talents, or why you are attracted to places you have never visited. It is the resonance with your other active windows. When you expand your identity, you cease to be a small individual of 80 years duration. You become a multi-dimensional entity with thousands of years of accumulated experience. When you face a problem today, you can ask, which version of me, past, future, or parallel, has already solved this, and you can tune in. Death as awakening from the dream. The greatest gift of assuming your galactic identity is the total loss of the fear of death. For the human ego, death is the end. It is the abyss. It is the blackout. For the galactic being, death is simply game over. It is the moment you take off your virtual reality goggles. It is the moment you take off the tight shoe that has been bothering you for 80 years. People who have had near-death experiences, NDEs, and have returned tell the same thing. They left the body. They saw the tunnel. They felt an indescribable love. And they realized that Earth was the dream and that place was reality. They realized they had never been born and could never die. They felt an infinite lightness. And when they returned to their bodies, they were no longer afraid. They lived with a fierce boldness and joy. You don't need to have an accident to have that experience. You can have it now through knowledge. If you know you are eternal energy, what is the worst that can happen? Losing money, losing status, losing the body. None of that affects your real core. You are invulnerable. This understanding gives you the superpower of bravery. You dare to launch that business. You dare to say, I love you. You dare to leave that toxic job. Because you know that no matter what happens, you are safe. You have always been safe. Human life becomes a game. And it is only played well when you know it is a game. If you believe it is serious and life or death, you play with fear defensively, and you lose. Play with the light-heartedness of an immortal. Activation of dormant DNA. Science tells us that more than 90% of our DNA is junk DNA. Scientists do not know what it is for, so they call it junk. From the metaphysical perspective, nature does not create junk. That 90% is deactivated hardware. It is the code of your galactic identity that is in a latent state. It contains the instructions for advanced self-healing, telepathy, longevity, and universal connection. It is deactivated because the frequency of humanity has been very low, fear, for thousands of years. But now, as you raise your frequency, through everything learned in this book, the DNA begins to turn on. Light, information activates biology. When you step out of the mind and enter the heart, you send chemical signals that unlock those dormant genes. You start to have more energy. You need less food. Your intuition skyrockets. You are mutating. You are evolving from Homo sapiens, man who thinks, to Homo luminous, man who radiates. The astronaut's gaze, the overview effect. Astronauts who see Earth from space experience a cognitive phenomenon called the overview effect. Seeing the planet as a small blue sphere floating in the black vacuum, without borders, fragile and united, their consciousness changes forever. Political problems, wars and bills look ridiculously insignificant. They realize the unity of everything. You can invoke the overview effect without going to space. Close your eyes. Visualize yourself leaving your body. Rise above your house, above your city, above the continent. Leave the atmosphere. Look at Earth from the moon. Now look at your big problem today from there. That debt, that argument, that worry. From the galactic perspective, it is a speck of dust on a grain of sand. Is it worth losing your eternal peace for that? Your galactic identity gives you the gift of proportion. It allows you to live human dramas without drowning in them. It allows you to be the observer who laughs with tenderness at the struggles of the ego. Ah, look, my little avatar is worried about traffic. How sweet. That distance is not indifference, it is wisdom. It allows you to act with calm instead of reacting with hysteria. The harmonic convergence. Finally, your galactic identity connects you with a family that is not of blood, your soul family. As you awaken, you will start to attract other people who are also remembering, people with whom you feel an instant, deep, and ancient connection. You do not need words. You recognize each other by the frequency. They are your mission companions. You are forming a network of light around the planet. You are not alone in this. There are millions awakening right now. You are part of a cosmic team that decided to incarnate at this specific time in history to assist in the birth of a new humanity. It is no coincidence that you are listening to this now. It is your call to duty. It is your reminder. Welcome home, traveler. Chapter 12, Living in the Flow. There is a state of consciousness in which the friction between you and the world disappears. A state where things get done, but you feel that you are not doing them. A state where great goals are achieved without stress, without exhaustion, and without internal violence. The ancient Taoists called it Wu Wei, action through inaction. Elite athletes call it the zone. Musicians call it the groove. In this book, we will call it Living in the Flow. It is the art of navigating existence with the same elegance with which a sailboat navigates the ocean, using the force of the wind, the universe, instead of the strength of one's own arms, the ego. In this final chapter before the conclusion, we are going to dismantle the most harmful myth of our society, the myth that, to achieve something, you have to suffer. We are going to learn the physics of effortless action, the myth of sacrifice and friction. Our Western culture is built upon a monument to effort. We have been programmed with ironclad beliefs. No pain, no gain. He who wants something must pay the price. You shall earn your bread by the sweat of your brow. We glorify stress. We applaud those who work 16 hours a day and destroy their health. We consider being busy a status symbol. From the perspective of beyond the mind, this is an aberration. Excessive effort is not a virtue. It is an energetic inefficiency. Let's look at the physics. In electricity, resistance is the opposition a material presents to the passage of current. When there is a lot of resistance, heat, friction, is generated. Energy is wasted in the form of useless heat instead of becoming light or movement. Human effort is exactly that, resistance to the flow. When you feel you are striving very hard, what you are actually feeling is the friction of your ego rubbing against the current of life. You are swimming against the river. You are trying to force a result that is not natural, or you are trying to do it in a time that is not divine. Suffering, exhaustion, and burnout are not badges of honor. They are symptoms that you are disconnected from the source. Nature does not strive. The sun does not try to shine. It simply is the sun. The grass does not struggle to grow. It simply grows. The earth does not strive to rotate. It rotates driven by cosmic forces. You are nature. Why should you be the only creature in the universe that needs to suffer to exist? Living in the flow is moving from being a high-resistance electrical conductor, struggle, ego, to being a superconductor. In a superconductor, resistance is zero. Energy flows infinitely without being lost. This is what we seek, maximum result with minimum loss of vital energy. Wu Wei, the difference between action and forcing. It is vital not to confuse effortless action with laziness. Living in the flow does not mean sitting on the sofa waiting for food to be brought to you. It implies action, sometimes a lot of action, but the quality of the action is different. We can distinguish two types of movement. 1. Forcing ego, born from fear, lack, or the need for approval. It feels heavy, anxious, and linear. You have to push yourself to do it. You end up exhausted. It is rowing a wooden boat against the tide. 2. Inspired action, spirit Wu Wei, born from intuition, enthusiasm, or love. It feels light, timeless, and joyful. You don't have to push yourself. The action pulls you. You end up revitalized. It is hoisting the sail and letting the wind carry you. Steve Jobs, Picasso, or Mozart worked many hours, but they were not in effort. They were in flow. For them, the action was a natural extension of their being. They could not do it. Wu Wei is the action that arises when you align your personal will with the universal will. It is waiting for the right moment, kairos, and then acting with total decisiveness. It is like the surfer. The surfer spends a long time floating, waiting, active patience. He does not try to create waves by splashing with his hands. That is the ego. When the giant wave arrives, the force of the universe, the surfer paddles with intensity, action, and stands up. But once standing, he no longer exerts force. He lets himself be carried by the power of the wave. He only maintains balance. Living in the flow is surfing the energy waves. The internal traffic light system. How do you know if you are in effort or in flow? Your body tells you in real time. You have an internal traffic light. Green light, flow. You feel enthusiasm, curiosity, ease, doors open, calls are answered, time flies, your body feels expanded. Red light, effort. You feel contraction in the stomach, tension in the shoulders, heavy boredom or frustration. Things get stuck, you lose your keys, the computer crashes, people don't understand you. The mistake of the average human is that when they see the red light, they hit the gas. This isn't working, I have to push harder, I won't give up. And then they break the car. The master, when they feel the red light, resistance, stops. They understand that resistance is a signal of misalignment. They don't keep banging on the closed door. They withdraw. They breathe. They return to the center, chapter 3. They check their intuition, chapter 6. And they ask, is this the wrong path, or is it the wrong time? Often, the simple act of stopping and letting go of the obsession changes the energy, and the door opens on its own, or a side window appears. The rule of flow is, if you have to force it, that's not the way. This applies to business, relationships, and even opening a jar of pickles. The intelligence of water. Bruce Lee said his famous phrase, "Be water, my friend." This is the supreme philosophy of life, beyond the mind. Water is the master of adaptation. If you pour water into a cup, it becomes the cup. If you pour it into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. Water does not have a rigid shape, ego, so it cannot be broken. Water always seeks the lowest level, humility, and yet the ocean is more powerful than the mountain. Living like water means accepting the shape of the present moment. If the present moment is being stuck at an airport due to a delay, the ego rock fights. It gets angry, screams, suffers. It breaks against reality. The flow, water, adapts. Okay, now I am a man waiting in an airport. He sits down, reads a book, meditates, or talks to someone. By offering no resistance to reality, you conserve your energy. And curiously, by being at peace, you often enter a timeline where the plane leaves earlier or you meet someone important in the waiting room. Water always reaches the sea, not by force, but by persistence and adaptability. Radical trust, the safety net. To let go of the oars and let the current carry you, you need one thing, radical trust. You have to believe viscerally that the current is benevolent. If you believe the river leads to a deadly waterfall, you will row against the current until you die of exhaustion. If you believe the river leads to paradise, you will let go of the oars and enjoy the scenery. This is where all the previous chapters converge. Your deprogramming work, your connection with the heart, and your galactic identity have led you to this conclusion. The universe is on your side. You are not alone in the hostile void. You are sustained by a matrix of intelligent love. Living in the flow is a constant act of faith. It is saying, I don't know how this bill will be paid, but I trust in my ability to generate value and in the universe's provision. I am not going to panic. I'm going to follow my intuition step by step. Panic takes you out of the flow. Trust keeps you inside. The mind as co-pilot, not as driver. What role does the mind play in all this? Do we discard it? No. The mind is an excellent co-pilot. The spirit, driver, decides, let's go to the beach. The mind, co-pilot, says, agreed. To go to the beach we need gas, to check the map and to bring sunscreen. The mind is useful for logistics, structure, and linear execution. The problem arises when the co-pilot tries to grab the wheel and screams, "No, the beach is unsafe. Let's go to the office to work more." Living in the flow is keeping the mind in its co-pilot seat. You use it to organize your schedule, to make budgets, to learn technical skills, but you don't use it to worry about the future or to define your identity. When the mind starts screaming fears, you tell it with love. "Thank you for your opinion, but I, the spirit, am driving. Relax." The economy of flow, doing less, achieving more. The corporate world is beginning to realize this. Working 12 hours distracted and stressed produces less value than working 4 hours in a state of flow. In a state of flow, your brain turns off the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. It shuts down the voice of the inner critic and turns on a chemical mix of norepinephrine, dopamine, anandamide, and endorphins. Your information processing accelerates massively. You see connections you didn't see before. You write the book in a week instead of a year. You solve the technical problem in 10 minutes. Living in the flow is the maximum productivity possible. That is why spiritual masters seem to have so much free time and yet achieve so many things. They do not waste energy on doubts, guilt, regrets, or indecision. They are action lasers. When they act totally. When they rest totally. There is no background noise. If you want to be productive, do not manage your time. Manage your state of flow. The art of cleaning, turning the mundane into the sacred. How do you practice flow while washing the dishes? The Vietnamese monk Thich Nhat Hanh explained it perfectly. There are 2 ways to wash the dishes. 1. Washing the dishes to have clean dishes, ego future. You are thinking about finishing quickly to go watch TV. Washing is an annoying obstacle between you and your happiness. There is friction. 2. Washing the dishes to wash the dishes, spirit present. You feel the warm water on your hands. You smell the soap. You feel the texture of the ceramic. You are totally there. The act itself is the goal. In the second mode, there is no stress. There is peace. And curiously, the dishes end up cleaner and you don't get tired. You can apply this to everything. Writing an email, driving to work, walking. Turn every action into a ritual. Now I am walking. Now I am breathing. When you take hurry out of the equation, the mundane becomes sacred. And when you live in the sacred, your frequency rises. And by the law of resonance, you attract miracles. Living in the flow is simply living in the now. Handling chaos, the bamboo in the storm. What happens when the storm arrives, when there is a real crisis? Living in the flow does not mean you will never have problems. It means you will have a different relationship with problems. The oak is strong and rigid. When the hurricane comes, the oak resists, and often it breaks or is uprooted. The bamboo is flexible and empty inside. When the hurricane comes, the bamboo bends until it touches the ground. It offers no resistance to the wind. When the hurricane passes, the bamboo returns to its position. The master of flow is like the bamboo. When a crisis arrives, financial loss, illness, they do not become rigid by denying it or fighting with rage. They lean, they accept. This is happening. They feel the emotion. They cry if they have to cry, but they do not break. They don't break because they have no rigid identity to defend, and since they do not waste energy resisting reality, they have all their energy available to adapt and re-emerge. Resilient people are not the hardest. They are the most fluid. Intuitive decision-making, the body as a compass. On a day-to-day basis, living in the flow simplifies decision-making. You no longer make lists of pros and cons. You use your body as a navigation compass, as we saw in Chapter 6, but applied to action. When faced with 2 options, do I go to the party or stay home? Do I accept project A or B? You do a quick test. Imagine yourself taking option A. Does your body expand, feel light, breathe better, or contract, feel heavy, shrink? Always follow the expansion. Even if the expansion option seems illogical, staying home even though I should go networking. The feeling of expansion is your soul telling you where the energy flow is. Contraction is your soul telling you where the energy drain is. If you follow expansion consistently, you'll end up in wonders. Your life becomes a series of energetic yeses, unlearning to try. Master Yoda in Star Wars gave the definitive lesson of flow: do or do not. There is no try. Try is an ego word. It implies the possibility of failure. It implies effort without certainty. When you go to pick up a pen, you don't try to pick it up. You simply pick it up. Living in the flow is eliminating try from your vocabulary. It is moving with the quiet certainty of one who knows they are backed up. When you decide to do something, do it with the totality of your being. And if you decide not to do it, don't do it and don't feel guilt. But don't stay in the lukewarm middle of trying, should, would like to. That is the hell of indecision. Flow is a total commitment to the present moment, to the tuned instrument. Finally, living in the flow is understanding that you are not the musician, you are the instrument. The universe is the musician. Your job is not to play the music. Your job is to stay tuned, to keep your body healthy, your mind clean, your heart open. If you are tuned in coherence, the universe will be able to play its symphony through you. Ideas will arrive. The right words will come out of your mouth without thinking about them. Love will flow through your hands. You will feel you are used by a benevolent force. This is the ultimate human realization, being a transparent channel for the light. There is no longer you and life. You are life happening. Loneliness is over. The burden is over. Only the dance remains. Conclusion. The awakening of the observer. The data transmission has concluded. Words cease here. The intellect has been fed, satiated, and hopefully transcended. We have dismantled piece by piece the golden cage of the logical mind. We have looked through the illusion of time, touched the fertile void, and remembered that our bones are made of stardust. You now have the map. But a map is not the territory, and knowing the path is not the same as walking it. You now find yourself at the most dangerous point of this entire journey. The danger is called spiritual intellectualism. It is the subtle trap of believing that because you have understood these concepts cognitively, your life will change on its own. It is the trap of turning quantum physics and metaphysics into a new parlor religion, something to talk about at dinner parties to seem deep, while your daily life remains a chaos of reaction, fear, and judgment. If you close this audiobook and go back to yelling at traffic or worrying about money, this knowledge will be useless. In fact, it will be a burden. Ignorance was a blessing. Half-consciousness is a torture. Now you will know that you are responsible for your suffering, and yet you will continue to choose it. The purpose of Beyond the Mind is not to inform you, it is to transform you. Metaphysics is not something you study, it is something you are. You cannot do quantum, you have to be quantum. And for that, the final step is required, the leap that no one else can take for you. You have to bring this knowledge down from the brain, philosophy, to the body, experience. You have to embody it. You must become the teaching itself in every single breath you take, the necessary death of the old self. For the conscious observer to be born, the victim has to die. There is no negotiation possible. You cannot take your old identity into the new reality. You cannot enter the field of infinite potential dragging your suitcase of poor me, or my childhood was hard, or the world is unfair. Those stories are lead anchors. They are fossilized observations that tie you to a dead timeline. Assuming the power of what we have learned requires radical responsibility. It means accepting, without guilt, but with total clarity, that everything in your life today, the good, the bad, and the ugly, is a wave collapse you authorized. Whether by conscious intention or unconscious negligence, you did it. You collapsed your loneliness with your fear. You collapsed your scarcity with your identity of need. This sounds harsh to the ego. The ego prefers to blame the government, parents, or the economy. But in this harshness lies your absolute liberation. Because if you created it, even while asleep, you can uncreate it now that you are awake. If the projector belongs to you, you can change the movie at any moment. The instant you stop looking for culprits outside is the instant you reclaim 100% of your energy to build the future. You are the sole architect of your existence. The walker of two worlds. The final challenge is to live daily life while maintaining double vision. How do you pay taxes, go to the supermarket, and raise children without falling back into amnesia? You must become a walker of two worlds. You must learn to operate in the particle and in the wave simultaneously. Physically, you respect matter. If you are cold, you wear a coat. If you are hungry, you eat. You respect Newton's laws for your biological avatar, but mentally and emotionally, you live in the wave. When you see a solid problem, a debt, a diagnosis, a conflict, do not be hypnotized by its solidity. Do not react with terror. Look at it and say, "This looks real, but I know it is only energy condensed by my past observation. It is an echo. If I change my frequency, this will dissolve." Walk through the world with the secret smile of one who knows the stage is made of cardboard. You become lucid within the dream. You are finally awake. Most humans are sleepwalkers. They believe the dream is real. They suffer through nightmares and they scream. You are the awake dreamer. You know you are dreaming, and because you know you dream, you can fly. You can change the script. You are no longer a character in the play. You are the playwright and the director. Love is the ultimate physics. We have talked about frequencies, hertz, and magnetism, but if we had to summarize the physics of creation in a single word, that word would not be energy. It would be love. And I am not talking about romantic love. I am talking about love as the frequency of union. Quantum entanglement tells us that at the core everything is united. Love is the biological experience of that entanglement. When you love something, the distance between the observer and the observed disappears. You become one with it. Fear is the frequency of separation. Love is the frequency of unification. The supreme observer does not observe with the cold analytical mind. They observe with the coherent heart. If you want to accelerate your manifestations, stop trying to get them and start loving them. Love your money before you have it. Love your health before you see it. Love is the cosmic glue of reality. The quantum butterfly effect. Perhaps you think this work is selfish, that it is only about achieving your personal success, but your galactic identity reveals a higher mission. You are not separate from the human race. We share a collective mind. When you change the morphogenetic field of the entire species. When you overcome your fear and collapse a reality of courage, you make it a bit easier for the rest of humanity to be brave. You are clearing a path in the jungle of collective consciousness. Your healing is not private. It is a public service. By raising your frequency, you raise the vibrational average of the planet. You become an antenna that radiates order in the midst of chaos. When you enter a room full of peace and coherence, you heal those around you without saying a word, simply by magnetic induction. The world does not need more politicians or noise. The world needs more coherent observers. You are one of them now. It needs people capable of looking at the current chaos and refusing to collapse it. People capable of holding the vision of a new world with such firmness that the old world dissolves before their eyes. That is the true function of awakening. You are the immune system of the earth. Your presence is the miracle. The last experiment. The book ends here, but the experiment has just begun. I leave you with a challenge. Do not believe me. Do not believe a single word I have said. Blind belief is superstition. I want you to have knowledge, and knowledge comes from empirical proof. I challenge you to the next 30 days. Dedicate the next 30 days to testing this with the rigor of a scientist. Choose one thing, just one area of your life that seems stuck, and apply the protocols. Withdraw your attention. Stop talking about the problem. Starve it. Tune the frequency. Every morning, enter the void and generate the emotion of the desire fulfilled. Follow the intuition. During the day, listen to the whispers and act fast. Live in the flow. When you find resistance, stop. Seek the path of the water. Surrender. Release the how and trust the universe. Do it radically. No excuses. If you do it, I promise you that reality will yield. It has no choice. Coincidences will appear. Synchronicities will hit you in the face. The improbable will happen. And when that occurs, when you see with your own eyes that your mind has moved matter, you will no longer need books or gurus or audios. You will know that you are powerful. You were never a victim. You will know that you are the creator. The universe is a soup of waves waiting for your command. The brush is in your hand. The canvas is infinite. The paint is your attention. What are you going to paint today? The masterpiece of your life awaits.